in the house for this day 2 of the summit. Outside in the hallway where the other rooms are occupied by the Ministry of Natural Resources, the Ministry of Immigration, we have maybe about 200 people already in that hall, in the hall, lining up to get processed, to get um, full out applications, and as well to deal with their mostly passport issues, getting them resolved. So it's a really a buzzing Friday morning here in Los Angeles. I'm Mose Hyde, starting off this broadcast, and in a very short while, the activities are going to kick off. We can definitely look forward to a very compact, a very informative, engaging sets of presentations. We know that we are going to get a presentation by finance guru uh, stationed now in Jamaica, Belize's very own Kalila Reynolds. So she's going to be making a presentation today. This is today is going to be primarily looking at investment, looking at finance, looking at money. You know how it goes. That's what today is going to be about. So if that is an area of interest for you, we certainly encourage you to stick around and enjoy the presentations, the activities. And of course, we've got to reach out and give thanks to all our sponsors who are making this broadcast possible. Without their support, of course, we are not able to do this. So we give thanks. It's a long way from home. We are at our capacity to bring you a broadcast when we leave the shores, and so we are unable to do it without getting that kind of maximum support from all our advertisers, from our team back home who are doing this. We are collaborating here in LA with Radio Belize Mix. They are facilitating and collaborating to make our stream expand the quality of our stream. And we are presently, of course, going to be streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, XTV Belize. You can get the live broadcast coming your way, the live stream. We encourage you to follow us on Facebook, to subscribe to us on YouTube. That's important, as well as to participate by putting out your comments. We do ask you to make your comments be respectful. We can disagree, but I don't feel like there's ever a need for us to be disrespectful and to reduce the quality of our point by being personal or being insulting. So we just want you to respect that and disagree in a respectful manner if it is that it's a disagreement that you want to put forward. This is Creme Radio, this is XTV, and everybody is now seated. So we are expecting that in a moment or two, we're going to have the commencement of this morning's summit and presentations. This, again, we want to remind you that today is centered on investment, it's centered on finance. This is the investment forum, and it is being staged by the Belize American Chamber of Commerce. That's what is taking place here today. This goes on till around 1 o'clock LA time, around 2 o'clock Belize time. So, uh, where to go on DPM? You go to work? All right. Shouting, we see the Deputy Prime Minister arriving and going into the area where the Ministry of Natural Resources is holding a land clinic. So it is a busy morning, and it's a full house. People are actually standing in the doorway looking for seats. I think they might have to even put more seats in here this morning. Definitely, the hall is. Yesterday was buzzing, but today it's definitely buzzing times 10. There's a great energy, and we want to say good morning to the good people of Southern California. We are in your neighborhood, your neck of the woods, you're in your yard, and we can't do it without your permission, of course. To our families, our friends, our countrymen and women, we salute you as you strive to survive and fight off your challenges and deal with your daily real. We know that it's never a walk in the park, and especially in a space like this that is very challenging, you really have to bring the best you've got. It's a competitive space, a challenging space, at times unwelcoming space, but you still make it, and you are still, while you are making it in this fight, you are still reaching back to give, and that's a beautiful thing. And so we say good morning to you. We're in your yard, and we salute you. So this is the uh, live coverage coming your way, and again, we want to just thank all our sponsors. And every now and then, of course, we do have to interrupt the broadcast to make sure that we honor our sponsors. We show you their messages and their special offers and their services that they provide. That's just the way it goes. That's the equation. Um, as you can see, you're watching me sitting at the back of the room. So as soon as we're able to coordinate with our collaborator and things are ready, you will be seeing the head of the room, and the room, where people are. And Brother Johnson, you could flip to the other cameras as well, because we're on now. We can just show that, yeah, show the hall, so that people don't think the camera is stuck on me. The coverage of this summit, of course, or participation here, is not possible without the sponsors. And this is the first Diaspora Summit that is being held. Yesterday, of course, it was structured with various panels, with various personalities and individuals participating in teamed conversations, all with moderator, and and that definitely had many highlights, many aspects of it that were definitely appreciated, very engaging, and very inspiring. I see the great Master Nui in the house. Master, Master Nuri is in the house. Inglewood Nuri is in the house. Kenyan side Nuri. All right, my brother. Brother Nuri comes into the room, and he's going to have to go find himself a seat. And again, you're listening to Creme Radio. You're watching XTV, and folks are getting situated. We do expect that we are going to get off very shortly. Very shortly, we're going to get off. So we're just waiting for them to start making their presentations. Present shot that you are seeing shows the front of the room, where you can see that the Prime Minister of Belize is now sitting besides the Deputy Prime Minister, and our head table looks almost set. I guess they're trying to get a live microphone, and as soon as they start, we're going to take it to the front of the room, where everything is going to be happening. That's for sure. Where all the presentations are going to be made. I guess in a short while they will be playing the various anthems, as out of respect to where we are and the diaspora, and the fact that a number of our brothers and sisters do have citizenship within U.S. citizenship. They are going to play the U.S. anthem and the Belize national anthem. And then I imagine there might be a prayer and a welcome, and then we should be getting the second day of the summit on the way.
Good morning.
All right, so let us go to the front of the room.
Welcome to the 9th Annual Belize Investment Forum. Welcome to the Belizeans here and Belizeans watching us at home. At this moment, we would like for you to stand for the national anthems, please. Thank you very much. Please have a seat. Today at the Investment Forum, we will be talking about business, investments, and having a really great discussion on how to move Belize forward through business and investments. At this moment, I would like to say a very special welcome to the Honorable John Bersenio, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Economic Development, Investment, Civil Aviation, and Immigration, Deputy Prime Minister Honorable Cordell Hyde, Minister of Natural Resources, Petroleum, and Mining, Honorable Dr. Shine Barrow, Leader of the Opposition, Ms. Nicole Solano, CEO in the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations, Ms. Yvette Gentle, Vice Consul, the Consulate General of Belize, Ms. Sandia Murphy, Ambassador of Diaspora Relations, Dr. Leroy Almendarez, Executive Director of Beltrade, also Mr. Claude Haylock, Director General of the Financial Service Commission, also Mr. Rinaldo Magana, Chairman of Finance Belize, and Dr. Andrew Trambach, Director of Finance Belize, and all other distinguished guests and representatives. At this time, to give our keynote address is our keynote speaker, a man who needs absolutely, excuse me? Yeah, I already did. The man who needs absolutely no introduction, the Honorable John Bersenio, Prime Minister of Belize and Minister of Finance, Economic Development, Investment, Civil Aviation, and Immigration.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lightfoot, and good morning, everybody. I don't feel too bad because I think I'm the second worst singer in the Belize, and I didn't hear many people joining me singing the national anthem. But you never sing the U.S. national anthem either, so we're okay. But next time we need to practice singing the national anthem. It's a beautiful, I think, national anthem that we have. DPM, which I keep up with me, but sing better than me, that's for sure. But thank you again. Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. And Deputy Prime Minister, Mayor, CEOs, Leader of the Opposition, there you are. And to everybody, it is certainly a pleasure to be here with you this morning in the city of the Angels. Now, let me start by congratulating the organizers of this event and wishing each of you every success at today's investment forum. The growth and development of Belize is dependent on building an investment climate that embraces foreign and local investment, two ingredients present in this event. This is why I am happy to offer some comments in hope that it will set the tone for all of you in these for the next 2 days, and as well to be able to solidify my administration's commitment to encouraging a real partnership with our diaspora here in the West Coast of the United States. Gathered here in Los Angeles is one of the largest delegations from Belize, who over the course of this week have brought several government agencies here in LA. Often it is the diaspora that is coming to Belize. Now, Belize is here to LA to provide for you some of the much needed and deserved services. And it is fitting that we do this because you have done so much for the development of your families back home, which is indeed a part of the development of our nation. Your remittances to your family in Belize provides much to stimulate their economic involvement, your affection, your love for Belize here in the US and elsewhere is important to building our Belizean brand. A year or so ago, here in Los Angeles at the Summit of the Americas, I said, Belize is small, but small is sexy, especially when you're as unique as we are. I know that you feel as passionate about Belize as I do, and I want you to know that we believe that. We feel it, we see it. When you effectively engage with us, you play a key role in the economic development of Belize. Beyond remittances to your families, you assist in building that community, promoting trade and foreign direct investment, creating businesses, spur entrepreneurship, and transferring new knowledge and skills. It is with that vision that we established the first ever Ministry of Diaspora Relations to complement the Ministry of Tourism. Minister Mala, who sends his regrets, and the rest of our cabinet are pleased by what has happened in the tourism sector. Presently, tourism has responded beyond expectations since the negative downturn caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. And today, Belize is considered the fastest growing destination in the Caribbean and Central America. Plan Belize, my government's North Star for economic growth and prosperity, laid out bold and ambitious targets to build a Belize that works for everyone. My administration put forward Plan Belize, fully convinced that we can create an environment conducive to economic transformation, and the change is happening. Today, we continue to meet the demands for increased foreign direct investment. We continue to develop partnerships to enhance domestic investment through joint ventures. For example, I'm happy to say after listening to investors, we now have a new Fiscal Incentive Act, which provides broad-based economic incentives that also provides exemption from custom duties, excise duty, and revenue replacement duty for those wishing to operate within the investment space. Through the Fiscal Investment Act, there is also special consideration or carve-outs for those who meet the definition of micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, the engines of growth in Belize. We recognize that often bottlenecks exist for MSMEs that are considered financially risky. As a result of this, access to finance is often prohibitive with high interest rates. With expanded definition and the fact that MSMEs is responsible for over 70% of employment and more than 50% of gross domestic product, we must create an environment conducive to the sustainable growth of this sector. That is why in February, we launched the Belize Investment Business Climate Action Plan, or BIBCAP. The BIBCAP represents a unified approach, merging existing policies and strategies such as the National Investment Policy and Strategy, the MSME Policy and Strategy, and the Export Competitiveness Roadmap. This consolidation looks holistically at the climate in which investors are doing business in Belize. About our climate, here are some important impacts. One, we are a naturally endowed country. Therefore, we can take full advantage of those things that makes us unique. Two, we have many things that we can boast about, which makes us an attractive foreign direct investment destination, apart from the incentives. Three, we are politically stable. We are English speaking, but also multilingual. Four, proximity. We are close to the United States, Central America, and even closer to Mexico. Five, our currency is pegged to the US dollar with no thought of the evaluation. Partners in development, potential investors. Inbound investments are what we seek to accelerate the expansion of production, increase infrastructure, which leverages our tourism product. We are focused on increasing domestic generation in renewable energy and reducing our dependency on fossil fuel and Mexican energy. The business process outsourcing BPOs sector continues to expand and is now the second largest employer outside of the public sector. And there is plenty of space to grow this fairly new product. My friends, we are open for business and making the necessary changes which make doing business in Belize a seamless process. My cabinet is committed and working cohesively to ensure that ministries are on board, as well as staff at all levels, as we make a cohesive thrust towards economic sustainability. There are over $500 million in investment opportunities in areas such as renewable energy, tourism, agriculture, new growth, business process outsourcing, infrastructure, and the orange economy. Embedded in Plan Belize is the adaptation of an export-led growth by creating greater diversity through the enhanced development of traditional and non-traditional offerings to increase the economic pie. We have the workforce and the resources. We're making the necessary legislative, policy, and procedural changes to create an enabling environment on foreign and local investments. Also, we're ensuring that capacity building is being undertaken to ensure that we take full advantage of the increased investments. As such, we can leverage our skills and human resources by further reducing the unemployment rate, which the latest figures of the first quarter of 2024, which we will be announcing shortly, is showing that unemployment in Belize is at its all-time low at 3%. I'm convinced that these changes will continue to increase investments. Along with this, the government has been doing its part to create the enabling environment that will allow for a better investment climate. We have taken significant steps to reduce our external debt, which has gone from an all-time high of over 130% of GDP to 64%. This should contribute even more to investor confidence. The recent support of the blue bonds by the bondholders and the passage of the blue bond loan bill gave us leverage to reduce our external debt obligation and create much needed fiscal space to support our initiatives pivotal to economic recovery, growth, and development. Soon, the Movable Assets Rights Bill will be taken to the National Assembly, which should allow for greater access to affordable finance at our commercial institutions, especially for MSMEs. It is very difficult for MSMEs to get loans from the bank. And many instances, they are forced to go to the pawn shops where they pay some interest rates almost could term as criminal. Now, by introducing this bill, which the cabinet has already approved, once it becomes law, these small MSMEs can use their assets that they have that can be recorded in our registry and be able to go to financial institutions, the banks, the credit unions, to be able to get loans to get their business started and to continue to invest for their growth. An important aspect I'd like to point out also with the MSMEs, as I said, 50% of GDP, 70% of employment. It is a sector that many times as governments we tend to forget. We look at the big businesses, the people are going to invest millions of dollars. And so even at Beltrade, to apply for development concessions, you need to get, in many instances, an attorney or an accountant. And of course, our people at Beltrade are trying to be as helpful as possible. So we are making things simpler for them. We've been working on a program, what we call Simple, which would allow them to have access. We have already given a 1-year holiday from any taxes that they may have owed to the Belize tax service to be from GST and business tax, to allow them to be able to come and register, because we want them to become a part of the formal economy. Many of them operate on the informal economy. So we're giving them a break. Come and register, and you do not have to pay whatever taxes you may owe. We're also offering them also in tax exemptions, up to $1 million that they could import their equipment and that they need for their businesses over the course of 4 years. And if they have a good plan, we could even extend it for another 4 years for them to be able to grow, for their businesses to grow, to thrive, and to be able to continue to create opportunities for everyone. We went a step further, that now we have passed into law to state that 20% of government purchases and services are going to be set aside for MSMEs. And usually, again, is the big businesses, the big boys and the big guys, and ladies, so nobody can accuse me, that have access to government business. Now we want to set aside up to 20% to these MSMEs, so that they could also be able to get some of the business from government. Ladies and gentlemen, my government is committed to the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals as outlined in Plan Belize. And I must tell you that we just gone through a cabinet paper where people from the United Nations, they came to Belize to make an assessment. I think there are 17 goals, I think, there on the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. And in that, they have shown that Belize over the past years have done tremendous improvements in all aspects, from access to health, to education, to jobs, reduce the reduction in poverty. And it is something that, again, it is because we have come with a plan that we have been rolling out for the past 3 years. That is a cohesive plan that includes everybody to be able to be a part of the development of Belize. And it's something that we mentioned in Cabinet, that we have to ensure that our Belizeans can be aware of that work that our government has been doing over the past 3 years. I tell everybody 3 years ago, my hair was not as white as it is. I'm fighting to keep it. Some have lost it. Not the DPM, by the way. Our government, we are committed to reducing poverty by expanding the economy and creating employment and affordable health care for everyone. The creation of employment and creating an environment where social well-being of all is addressed can result in zero hunger. Health and wellness is a priority. Significant changes are being made to ensure that everyone can access affordable health care through the construction of new hospitals and the easing of the access cost to health facilities. In addition, we are working on the expansion of the National Health Insurance Program, that by now we are reaching over 270,000 Belizeans that have been registered in the National Health Insurance Program, the NHI. Now we're working in Belize, in the north side of Belize City and the rest of the Belize district. And next year we will move into the Kaya district, so that by the end of 2025, we expect to have most, if not all, Belizeans registered under the National Health Insurance Program. Human capital development is necessary if we're to produce globally competitive citizens. To this end, efforts to improve quality education are being realized. We most recently opened ITSA, the first Belize STEAM Academy, to provide the tools necessary for young Belizean students. And whenever you all visit Belize, I encourage you, remember where Old Technical was? It's right there. It's a really state-of-the-art high school that promotes creativity of our young students. And to me, what is exciting about this is that we're going to duplicate this in the rest of the country, not by building more buildings or necessarily using even more teachers, but with technology, by connecting to schools, to different schools in every district to ensure that they could also have access to this creative education that we are providing at ITSA. Including in all these initiatives is our commitment to gender equality, ensuring that opportunities are available at all levels for women in every new legislative policy or strategy that are established. I can tell you that women unemployment has gone down drastically, and especially with the call centers, these BPOs, that we need more and more employment. But one of the challenges that we're facing is that many instances women do not have access to daycare or affordable daycare. So that's the next step that we're working to see how we can provide some sort of affordable healthcare daycare so that more and more women could be a part of the workforce. Presently, we have over 40% of women that can work are not working. And can you imagine if we could harness that intelligence, harness that work ethic? Could you imagine what more we can do in Belize? We cannot ignore or assume that the digital revolution or efforts to create a digital economy can or must wait. We must be a part of this transformation. That is why we have digitized the company's registry, digitizing vital statistics. By the end of this year, you'll be able to hear from the US, you'll be able to get your birth certificate, your marriage certificate. I know some of them mamas don't lose their marriage certificate. Your wife will be able to get it for you. You'll be able to get all of these services online. And we have already started now on the process of having a national ID. We're doing the first pilot project for the next 6 months. And we hope that by next year we could come up with a national ID. And many of you might be wondering, why is it that the national ID is so important? Well, national ID is very important, especially when it comes to business. When I speak frustratingly with the bankers in Belize, I say, why is it that it will take you months to be able, in some instances, to open a bank account? When many people in the United States, you could come in 30 minutes, you don't like open your bank account, you get a credit card. Why is it that we can't do it in Belize? And the first thing they'll tell us is because we do not have a national ID system. This national ID system will be able to have your biometrics so that the banks and everybody, all these public institutions will have access to know who you truly are. It helps you with credit, helps you to access to open up a bank account and a credit card. And we hope that by doing that again, that's another step in making sure that we can make doing business easier in Belize. As you continue your conversation today, rest assured that our government is committed to robust, strategic, and decisive mitigation measures to make the necessary changes, to transform processes and procedures, develop policies, and undertake legal revisions to create a conducive and enabling space. I assure all of you that we will continue to simplify processes and undertake a cohesive approach to digitalization with leadership by the Ministry of E-Governance, creating and stimulating greater efficiencies that will build the the level of confidence for foreign and local investment is imperative. These initiatives will be undertaken with partnership and engagement of our private sector so that they will undertake the necessary risks to increase the local investment stock. I wish you much success, productive dialogue, and building lasting relationships that will prove mutually beneficial to all of us. I am glad to be here in the City of Angels with you today, and I'm excited when I think of the positive outcomes of this encounter. Thank you, and may God continue to bless each and every one of us. Thanks.
Thank you, PM. Thank you so very much for that. And we look forward to all the initiatives that you're speaking about, because I believe that that will help the economy, will help businesses, and will help women to be able to be productive business partners as well. At this time, I'd like to thank our streaming partners, all the Belizeans at home. Everyone say hi. Thank you to XTV, Crime Radio, Will with Radio Belize. Thank you so much for streaming. We will continue the program by calling to the podium Mr. Michael D. Young, who is the President and Executive Director of the BACC. Mr. Michael Young is a founder and Executive Director of the Belize American Chamber of Commerce, and was previously appointed Emissary of State Representative to the state of Florida under the auspices of the government of Belize in the Ministry of Economic Development, Petroleum Investment, Trade, and Commerce. Mr. Young has over 15 years of experience in fostering and facilitating bilateral trade, investments, and business strategies throughout major industry sectors, such as renewable, sustainable energy, agriculture, business, banking, finance, real estate development, and tourism. Since his tenure, Mr. Young, along with the support of his team and the network, and his esteemed colleagues, has received a few proclamations, including the Beyond the Seas Award and also certificates of appreciations from 2 mayors of Broward County. Mr. Young is, please come to the mic, Michael. They all know who you are anyway.
Thank you, Master or Mistress of Ceremonies, Ms. Ashkert. And protocols haven't been met. However, I'd like to acknowledge and thank the Prime Minister and his members for being here today. I'm going to keep it nice and short as possible, but I want to acknowledge, well, my name is Michael D. Young with the Belize American Chamber of Commerce, but I have to acknowledge the board, our board, Ms. Rishma Eckert, Ms. Ariel Lightfoot, and Baird, and the rest of the team. I like Desiree Young for all of the hard work of what you see here today in association with the Belize Diaspora Network. We created the Belize Diaspora Summit along with Mr. Mose Hyde and his family, CREM, XTV. But just an example of the private sector working closely with the public sector, the government sector, where, for example, this could not have also happened without the support of the government agencies, the sponsors, and so forth. Government agencies such as the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora, the Ministry of Natural Resources, Lands Department, Immigration Department under the PM's portfolio, the Financial Services Commission and Finance Belize, and all of the other participants, collaborators, supporters, and sponsors. This is an example of what can be done connecting home and abroad. I like to use the mahogany tree as an analogy, where home is the roots, and the diaspora abroad is the leaves, the branches, and the trees, and it creates a network. And what we want to do is strengthen that network and have each side complement each other, not compete. So, for example, it's not that lands department is coming out here giving away land to the Belizean Americans. No, it's the Belizeans in the diaspora gaining access to the services that they need to nourish back home, send back home in remittances and so forth. We need home, and I think home can benefit from us. So that's the story basically that we want to tell and show through action. The partnerships between private sector, nonprofits, for-profits, and the government agencies, and all of the other stakeholders that I could mention here today, Beltrade, and so forth. So we will have today a list of very interesting presentations with some key information that can be very beneficial to all. So I would like for you guys to please take advantage of that. We have a meet and greet with the Prime Minister later on today. There's new instruments, securities, and so forth that will be presented by under the umbrella and the auspices of the financial services, under the leadership of Director General Claude Hillock, and also Finance Belize, Mr. Magania, and his team, where we want to recognize Finance Belize as well. So that being said, I'd like to thank you all again for being here. Please encourage anyone to take advantage of being here and ask questions, gain information, and we hope that you guys have a blessed and happy Friday and weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you very Mike. Mic check. Thank you very much for that.
One, two, one, two, one, two.
Appreciate it. Mic check.
I think we're experiencing a little technical difficulty with the mic at the head. While they resolve that, give me a chance to say good morning. Sister Kitty is here. Good morning, Sister Kitty.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning again, I should say.
Yes.
It's a second good morning.
Right.
All right, this is Prem Radio and XTV live in Los Angeles, California, the Marriott at the airport, where we are bringing you the second day of the Belize Diaspora Summit. This day is the investment forum, which has been organized by the Belize American Chamber of Commerce for almost a decade. And so they have muscle memory, but
Right.
they don't have a mic right now. So we are just trying to, yes, Katie.
Right, but they're gonna resolve, and you can see it's a different energy today for sure. But I am excited to see. I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways from the Prime Minister's presentation is that hey, we finally are acknowledging that we don't need credit card, and so we are work on get that national ID so that everybody could free up and get them bank account and credit card. But it looks like the mics are back and fully active. Yes, sir.
Active with an attitude.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, we're
Outside is
back. We're back.
outside is
Teaming.
huh?
Ooh, teaming. The people
That's the
about.
word. Outside is teeming.
My check.
All
All
right, so we
right.
have
Now
mic
we're
now.
back.
A little better.
We go back to
The main podium.
All right, thank you, Bill. We would like to call the next presentation to the podium. Mr. Claude Haylock, Director General of Financial Service Commission. Mr. Claude Haylock was appointed as Director General and Deputy Chairman of the Financial Service Commission of Belize, the FSC, on September 1st, 2017. In his current role, Mr. Haylock is the Chief Executive Officer of the FSC and is responsible for oversight, regulation, and supervision of the non-bank financial services sector in Belize. He also serves as the Registrar of Companies, Registrar of Merchant Shipping, and the Registrar of numerous other legal entities, including NGOs, NPOs, foundations, and trusts. Mr. Haylock specializes in strategic management, corporate governance, transparency, and developing and implementing policy strategies that mitigate risk in the financial sector. As a national of Belize, Mr. Haylock holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree in International Relations and a Master's degree in Public and International Affairs. He has also received additional training in issues related to the financial sector, regulation, and supervision. Mr. Haylock will join us at the podium.
still kind of working out the microphone at the or the PA at the podium. Okay, so let's go back.
You know, when you recap to the boss, you have to feel when you take the floor up to the boss, you have very very big shoes to fill. So, I hope I can. Comprehensive picture of the way things are in Belize and the work that the government and your cabinet has been doing. And I hope that in my brief remarks here that I can at least add a little bit to that picture and help us to fill out the picture a bit more. Prime Minister, leader of the opposition, the Deputy Prime Minister, the CEO, other government officials, of course, my colleague, the chairman of the Finance Committee.
So we're still having a bit of a
Audio.
PA issue there.
Right. Okay, he's
This ninth Belize Investment Forum, which is a pivotal forum to this platform to discuss the incredible investment opportunities that Belize has to offer. I extend, of course, my sincere thanks to Michael, whose steadfast commitment has made this annual gathering possible. 9 years. Congratulations, Michael. And of course, let me congratulate
Who's running the presentation?
This forum is crucial in bridging the gap, connecting investors with wealth of prospects overseas.
Yeah, so we're just trying to get a better feed, listeners and viewers. The mic volume from the PA. I think the speaker is not holding the microphone closely enough, so we're just trying to get that resolved. That's why the audio from the podium is kind of low.
Sector enhancing Belize's competitiveness.
St. Catherine has changed the game.
We've gone cashless with Digital Wallet.
Now grabbing a bite in the cafeteria is a whole new experience.
Who needs cash? We just pay with Digital Wallet.
And all our accounts are linked directly to our ID cards. It's quick, safe, and super easy. Download and try Digital Wallet today. Set trends. Keep it cashless with Digital Wallet.
Let us help you to empower your school with DigiWallet. Streamline payments, elevate efficiency.
Man, this weather will hold me back again. I really need our car.
Hey James, you look for a car?
Avery, yeah. Things would be so much easier if I had a car, but then I'd have to take out a loan, and I'm not sure if that's the right move, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes to achieve our goals, we need financial assistance. But it doesn't have to be scary. We can make informed choices.
What are your financial goals? A loan could help turn these aspirations into reality. But before you make that commitment, take a close look at your budget and carefully assess your income and expenses. Learn about the various types of loans and the potential impact on your financial future. Meet with someone who can guide you through the loan process, helping you understand the terms, interest rates, and repayment period. Finally, read the fine print. Make sure you are comfortable with the terms and conditions. The decision to take out a loan should be a well-informed one. Remember, knowledge is your greatest ally. Take your time, do your research, and make a choice that aligns with your aspirations and financial well-being.
Make informed choices.
A message from the Central Bank of Belize. Visit us at centralbank.org.bz. The Central Bank of Belize. People-focused, purpose-driven.
Let's take a journey through the core functions of the Social Security Board. It all starts with registering as an insured person, employer, or self-employed individual. Sign up for a portal account to manage your Social Security information online. Just provide accurate information and click Create. This will give you access to a range of services and benefits. Next, your contribution, along with investments and other income, are collected and distributed into 3 funds. This ensures that the SSB fund is securely utilized to support various benefit programs. The SSB is committed to providing essential benefits such as sickness, maternity, injury, and pension. These benefits are paid out to eligible individuals as a part of the Social Security coverage. We help you navigate through life's challenges with financial security. Annual surplus accumulates to grow the fund each year. This surplus is invested into various industries, contributing to the growth and development of our nation. With each passing year, the fund continues to grow due to the annual surplus and interest revenue earned from prudent investments. This surplus, along with reserves, helps to bolster the SSB fund and provide a safety net for those in need. We've arrived at the end of our journey to better understanding how the SSB works. We remain committed to serving you and building a secure future for all Belizeans.
Safe, welcoming, the start of a new chapter. Your home is one of life's biggest investments. Let's protect it. Have you made any recent additions to your property? If so, $150,000, but later, an additional $50,000 was invested into the home. This means that the home is now inadequately insured for only 75% of its value. Home 2 was insured for $150,000 3 years ago, and you haven't invested in any additions. However, Inflation and the rising cost of building materials mean that rebuilding the same home today will cost $180,000. This means your home is inadequately insured for only 83% of its value. Therefore, if both homes suffer a $50,000 claim in damages, Home 1 will only be entitled to 75% of this claim, $37,500, and Home 2 will only be entitled to 83% of the claim, $41,500.
All right, so we are
to avoid this from
two of
happening
the
to
summit.
you,
At
we
the
invite all
American
policyholders to
Chamber
call
of Commerce's investment forum. Had difficult audio coming.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because it's good information. So we're hoping that we could work on that. And thanks for your patience as we sort out the audio issues.
Atlantic Insurance agent for guidance today. Being adequately insured gives you the peace of mind to focus on family and life's precious gifts. Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
My name is Waluko Mejia. I'm the General Manager at Copal Tree Lodge here in Toledo, Belize. The Belize Bank service we appreciate most is the Belize Bank ATM and the use of its debit card. It makes it very accessible for our employees here at Copal Tree Lodge. Essentially, they could access the ATM on their way home after work, and also that the local stores accept the use of a debit card.
Benny's is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad. In the month of June, visit a Benny's near you and get store-wide discounts on selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie Power Tools, Charbroil Barbecue Grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Benny's.
Benny's, Benny's. Oh, Benny's, Benny's.
HRCU is thrilled to announce the launch of our new online banking services designed to...
On March 14, 2024, we introduced Finance Belize, poised to serve as the marketing and promotional arm of the financial services sector of Belize. With the mission to promote Belize as a dynamic, cooperative, reputable, and business-friendly jurisdiction. Its mandate is to strengthen the financial services sector while creating a common sense of purpose with government, policymakers, regulators, trade associations, and firms. Finance Belize is governed by a board of directors who lead the strategic direction of the organization. It is led by a chairman, myself, several distinguished and qualified board members, including FEC Commission members and other finance, service, and legal professionals. Each board member contributes a distinct skill set and invaluable insights that plays a crucial role in directing the execution of its strategy. Finance Belize emerges at a critical juncture in the domestic and international financial services area, where differentiation and client engagement have never been more crucial. As traditional banking and non-banking financial services undergo rapid evolution, stakeholders are seeking innovative ways to stand out and connect with their audiences. Finance Belize is poised to fill this gap, offering specialized marketing strategies that combine industry insight with cutting-edge marketing techniques. Finance Belize is committed to collaborating with the government, policymakers, regulators, professionals, and licensed service providers to foster a well-regulated, reputable, and business-friendly environment, contributing to the sector's diversification and to be a significant contributor to the country's economic growth. The genesis of Finance Belize began in early 2021, a recommendation by the Economic Recovery Advisory Task Force, which was led by the Prime Minister Hussein. Task force conducted a comprehensive examination of the country's key economic sectors, including the financial services sector. The objective was to pinpoint and capitalize on opportunities for economic advancement and progress within the financial sector and other key economic following the disastrous economic effect of the COVID pandemic. Recognizing the necessity for a dedicated entity to champion the financial sector, the task force recommended the establishment of a promotional agency for the financial sector. Drawing inspiration from the British Virgin Islands, BVI Finance, Finance Belize aims to mirror the success of the BVI Finance, playing a crucial role in the national economy. Finance Belize is committed to being at the forefront of marketing trends, promotion, and development, including future fintech trends, to ensure that the industry has a strong domestic and international presence. Belize currently has many strengths and opportunities on its side, such as political and currency stability, geographic location, abundant natural resources, modern laws, and a fair and transparent tax regime. Aside from tax fairness, Belize has modernized company law and regulations that diverse and attractive corporate we also
HRCU is thrilled to announce the launch of our new online banking services designed to put you in control of your financial future. To take advantage of our new services, you will need to know your updated 16-digit account number. You'll enjoy 24/7 access to your accounts, send and receive payments to other credit unions and banks effortlessly, pay your bills online with ease. Need to make a loan payment? Done from the comfort of your own home. Have your government benefits deposited directly into your account, hassle-free. Applying for a loan? Easy. Apply online with just a few clicks. And don't worry, we'll be here to guide you through the transition every step of the way. Visit hrcubelize.org for more details on our exciting new online banking services. HRCU, making a difference in people's lives.
Whether you are a busy person or stuck in traffic or having an adverse or very demanding circumstance, tension builds up, causing you to be stressed out. Stress attacks everyone, anytime, any age. And stress is a killer. Palm City? It's best to be alive than dead. So visit Freetown Drugstore to get options to relieve stress and to relax your mind.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you today?
I'm so stressed out.
Okay, I'm saying help you right now. When I this daily, for 10 days, I am good after that, okay?
Okay.
Freetown Drugstore, 28 Freetown Road, where you are better off alive than dead. Freetown Drugstore, telephone 223-2876.
The Office of the Prime Minister invites you to the National MSME Roadshow 2024. Join us for free workshops in marketing using AI, finance, business planning, and customer service. Connect with financial institutions for access to finance opportunities, meet with key government agencies, and showcase your business at the Roadshow Expo in an effort to get more locals to buy Belizean. We will be in Orange Walk Town, June 13th to
hours a day, 5 days a week. All transactions involve parties buying and selling currencies. Major participants include central banks, commercial banks, investment banks, and retail traders. So how do we make money in Forex? Because of the extreme liquidity, traders all around the world are able to capitalize massively on price fluctuations by correctly predicting whether the market will go up or down. If predicted correctly, brokers like ourselves will pay you the profit that you've made. With proper risk assessment and algorithmic software, retail traders are able to make a profit by having these systems input and close trades for them completely hands-free. The next topic, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my business partner, Mr. Stefan Wadden, to go ahead and cover and dive into how our operation, our knowledge, our expertise can benefit the economy of Belize and the government of Belize. Thank you.
Thank you. As Brandon said, my name is Stefan Wadden. I'm actually born and raised in Georgetown, Guyana. I was born in 1995. I came to the United States in 2006. 28 years currently, and you know, a lot of people say that they can relate to a third world country. They really can't, right? You guys know. You know, being in these third world countries, there's not really a lot of opportunity, right? So it's crazy now, you know, years later, just from me dabbling into this Forex space. I've done the college thing. I graduated my bachelor's in biology, had a corporate job in New York City, wasn't really making that much money, got into learning how to trade in 2019, haven't looked back since. I've seen an amount of massive success in this space. I was able to, at a young age, you know, take care of my family. I bought a $500,000 home for my mom, brand new car. These are just certain things that I wanted to do for my family, because we never had that, right? Growing up in Guyana, you know, it was very hard. Coming over here, I felt like I had to give my parents a lot, right? So I'm not gonna do too much. I just want to get into this so that you guys can really understand the opportunity, because this can really not only change everyone in here's life, but you know, the people in the family to come as well. So how does Forex actually benefit the economy of Belize? First and foremost, it's going to give you employment opportunities, right? It's going to give jobs to so many people, whether that's on the customer service side, on the back end, on the front end, you know, so many opportunities for people to actually get a good job that's actually paying, you know, pretty well as well, because you're going to be making a lot of money. So there's a lot of money to give back to people to actually have a job. The attraction of foreign investment from foreign investors, as Brendan said, we do mainly a lot of business in St. Lucia, meaning that, you know, we build our companies directly from there. You know, clients are coming from the US, clients are coming from Dubai, clients are coming from Saudi Arabia, and that's giving a lot of exposure to St. Lucia, to the point where right now St. Lucia is the go-to country to build these Forex brokers because of how easy it is, how professional they are with it, and how respected the how respected they are in this space. Currency stability. This is just going to give you, you know, just basic current stability within this space when you participate within the Forex market, and then economic diversification. By engaging in the Forex trading, countries can diversify their economic activities, reducing dependence on a single industry or export commodity, meaning that you guys can now not just invest into gold or real estate and these certain things. You can invest into this market, which is a digital market. It's liquid, and you guys can actually be making money every single day as a people, right? As a government, as a company. It goes levels up, right? There's retail traders all the way up to liquidity providers. You guys can actually, as the country of Belize, form your own liquidity pool between, you know, just people and investors within the country, and then more so importantly, people outside of the country. And I have investors and clients that will put 7, 8, 9, 10 figures into operations like this, especially when it's backed by the government, because it's all about trust in this industry, right? the money is always going to be there. That's the one thing I want you guys to understand. The money will be there. It's just more so, can other people in other countries trust Belize to make sure that everything is done professionally, right? Money is there. When people want it, they can touch it. The results are there, and we help facilitate that and make that infrastructure and build infrastructure for you guys. Now, how does this benefit the government of Belize? So obviously revenue generation, the government is going to be making a lot of money from fees, commissions, spreads. These are different things that, brokers, liquidity providers will charge. This is something that Belize as a country can actually do and start bringing in a lot of revenue. Trade balance management, technological advancement, right? I'm sure you guys know about AIs now, bots, systems. These are things that real banks, real hedge funds are using, right? Where they make somewhere along the lines of 3 to 5 to 10% a month on millions of dollars, right? And this is just a side, I would say, like a side investment, because obviously they're depending on people to bring in deposits. They take those deposits. If you guys don't know, most banks are actually trading your money, right? So you're going to have a lot of technological advancements when it comes to AIs. We have trading systems that trade for us. These are things that we all provide. Liquidity to fund projects. Now you guys will have a huge, I would say, pool of money. Once you guys start taking in investors from outside of Belize, plus you pair it with the people that's inside of Belize, you guys can now use that extra liquidity now to fund different projects, right? Now you guys, if you want to go start, build a hotel, you need to, build dam, build whatever you need in the country of Belize. I don't really know exactly what you guys would need, but this liquidity will help fund that as well. Enhance financial sector development, crisis mitigation, right? When you guys go through different crises, whether it's, a hurricane or a tsunami, whatever the case may be, right? Just, thinking hypothetical here. You guys will have funds to handle that and not have to depend on, countries donating and things of that nature. You guys already have your own crisis plan on the back end where you guys can now use that money within the trading space to now take care of your country. And then last but not least, asset management, which I'm sure you guys are very familiar. So this is how Belize can actually stay ahead within the foreign exchange industry. You will allow foreign people and entities to create multiple regulated Forex brokerages out of Belize. If I'm not mistaken, you guys have the IFSC, which is like a new regulation, I want to say, for Forex within the country of Belize. I did some research, and it doesn't seem like it's too expensive, but obviously, if you guys want to attract more people, you have to be more competitive in that space. St. Lucia charges somewhere along the lines of $7,000 to $10,000 just to build a brokerage, right? They don't have a legal they don't actually have a legal regulation, but they have what's called a legal opinion, and that allows them to fully legally operate within this space. So maybe if we can work out something to where we can make it more affordable for other brokerages, I know I'll be able to bring a lot of clients over to Belize if it's a little bit more affordable than what it is currently right now, and that will bring a lot more volume. We're going to use the banks of Belize to back and provide liquidity for brokerages around the world. Like I said, you guys will be receiving, as a government, as a company, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars if you guys were able to pull this off. And we can, as a team, pull this off. And now we have more liquidity for, all the different brokerages around the world. Have an annual Forex convention once a year to bring more people from all over the world to visit the country of Belize. This is very, very major. I could say the one thing that's changed my life is traveling to other countries, learning about Forex within other conventions. Big places like Dubai. I've been to expos in Mexico. There was just one 3 days ago in Cyprus. And this is bringing thousands and thousands of traders and investors and brokers and, so many important people within this space to whatever country that is. So I think, obviously you guys having a Belize convention for Forex would be big for you guys. Obviously, bringing in more people to the country so that they can see how beautiful that country really is, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, providing cheap real estate, business offices for Forex brokerages to operate out of and rent monthly when needed. You know, one thing that I know for one of our expenses as a brokerage is that we need business offices, right? Right now, if a client wants a business office, I get them an actual business office in Dubai. It costs me about $10,000 to $13,000 just to give you an idea, right? That's what they're paying. I'm not charging anything extra. I'm giving them exactly, you know, a full year lease. I'm going to my real estate company within Dubai. They have a real office in Business Bay. I don't know, you know, how it is in Belize when it comes to real estate, but if you guys somehow, some way were able to allow us to rent affordable real estate and cheap real estate so we can build these offices in Belize, that will also bring a lot of revenue. That's what St. Lucia is doing as well. I have a client that literally just spent maybe $2 million on a building that has about 50 different offices in St. Lucia. He's renting each of that for maybe $2,000 a month. So you can imagine how much just that one building is bringing him. And he's not even from Belize, he's from America, right? He just built his company in St. Lucia. He got comfortable with the government of St. Lucia. They allowed him to build that building, and now he's profiting, right? This is something that you guys can do, and we can bring clients so that, you know, they can go ahead and rent from you guys. So that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for the time. If you guys have any questions, we will be here after this presentation so we can help you guys out. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
How very exciting. And I will make sure that I make it my mission to poach every single financial client from every other Caribbean country and bring them to Belize. I'm joking, by the way. So now we're going to move on to a special presentation. You can announce. We'll bring Mr. Young back up.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the presentations so far. We have quite a few more in store, some very, very good, exciting information coming up. But real quickly, I just wanted to present this opportunity about an initiative that the Belize American Chamber of Commerce is currently doing, which is with the Belize American Credit Union. So the application is still pending, and what we're going to show you here is just basically a platform for crowdfunding in terms of how we're going to tap into the diaspora and those at home with the crowdfunding efforts and initiatives for Belize. And we hope that this will be a pilot program that can unlock another opportunity of access to the small businesses, the MSMEs and so forth, where we connect home and abroad, right, through technology. So the Belize American Credit Union is a initiative that of the Belize American Chamber of Commerce, because honestly, you know, we need to figure out how we can keep going to do things like this, incorporating the community and focusing on the small man, not just the big investors, right? So this is what it would look like, the platform, just for visual purposes. You'll be able to easily log in and register as a sophisticated investor, accredited investor, or unsophisticated, right? The cap raise for crowdfunding is $5 million by US law. They just raised it a couple years ago up to $5 million with a minimum investment of or a minimum donation of $100 per person. We may even bring that down to $50 per person, because if you do the numbers, if you have the same amount of Belizeans in the U.S. as they do in Belize. $50 at 50,000 Belizeans donation would raise you that $5 million. There's claimed to be about 200,000+ Belizeans in California alone, not including New York, Chicago, and other states. And this would be a national campaign. And this is actually this is with an investment bank that's licensed with the regulators here in the U.S., and we seek the guidance of the regulators in Belize. So it's a two-pronged approach, not just here in the U.S. So simply, you'll be able to log in. You'll see the information on the effort. Basic information you enter, first name, last name, for due diligence purposes and KYC. And we're not launching this yet. We're just giving you guys, taking this opportunity to give you a peek of what we're working on for awareness. And the Holy Redeemer Credit Union has been very, very supportive with this initiative. We have their commitment and so forth. But, anything good, it takes time, a lot of effort, and so forth. And actually, one of the directors, also Dr. Andrew Trumbach, has been very instrumental in providing guidance in the securities and so forth of it. So simple qualification, if you're sophisticated or not, individual, family office, none of the above. Any affiliations that you may have, right, for due diligence purposes. Your qualifications as an investor or a donator. And then it's verified, investor verification, and this is all going to be online. And that's it. So for more information, to learn more about our efforts with the crowdfunding and our efforts with the Belize American Credit Union, you can email our offices at info@belizeamericanchamber.org. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Young, and we look forward to more updates on the progress of the Belize American Credit Union. At this time, we're moving on, and I'm going to make the next introduction short and sweet because I don't think there's anyone who doesn't know Dr. Leroy Almendarez. He's currently the Executive Director of the Belize Trade and Investment Development Service, Beltrade, which is the investment promotion agency, export promotion agency, and has the responsibility for MSME development and training for employment. Dr. Almendarez. You go, sir.
Thank you very much, Rishma, and good afternoon to everyone. Whether you're here in the diaspora or back in Belize, because in Belize it's now after 1 o'clock, so lunch would have been concluded. It's a real pleasure being here. And Rishma, there may be people here who don't know me, but really it's a real pleasure being here. And I believe that after listening to the presentation, starting with the Prime Minister talking about the enabling environment that has been created. And you have heard from the FSC, you have heard from Finance Belize, you have heard from Dr. Trumbach, you have heard about many of these things that are happening. And of course, we have heard about Forex. And who would have thought that we'd have been hearing about some of these things? But what I want to delve in now is just an expansion, just go into some more details with respect to some of the things that the Prime Minister has said, and so I don't need to repeat it. I also heard from Dr. Trumbach and from DG Halak, and also from Ronaldo. But let me first of all, before I forget, say thank you again, Mike, because I know him as Mike, and that's how we operate. He's my big brother because he's older. And so therefore, really, it's always a pleasure. And it's not my first time, he's younger. And so it's a real pleasure being here indeed. And so as we look at investing and doing business in Belize, the Prime Minister spoke, of course, about the enabling environment. But there's so much diversification taking place within the marketplace. When you talk about financial products and some of the other things that we'll be talking about. And so this is what we want to look at. Some of the information has been said in terms of overview, the economy of Belize. We have heard about political stability, and that is true. We all know, whether in the diaspora or in Belize, an election happens today, and the Prime Minister is sworn in tomorrow, and there's no issues. So that's stability. In some cases, when you do what is called a PES analysis, whether political, economic, all of these things are important. And then, of course, why invest in Belize? What are these products? Just to add to some of these things that are happening. We talk about incentives. And here we want to expand a little bit more on some of those incentives. Oh. No, I just thought it was touch screen. Yeah. Some of these things, as I said, have been mentioned. We know when we talk about the 8867, the English or the language, I heard it mentioned as well that we're the only English speaking in Central America. But the other thing I want to add is we're the bridge between Central America and the Caribbean. And so therefore, it gives us not only strategic location, but it allows us to blanket as we establish ourselves as that investment hub. And so therefore, bridging those, and when you talk about the collective size of that market, the opportunities are endless. Our population has grown, but there's a figure here with an asterisk. Sometime in the past, per square mile, it was 16 per square mile. That means you could move a long distance without seeing people. The recent census told us that there are greater clusters. And so the challenges in terms of providing resources, expansion of utilities and infrastructure, and especially as we hear about those challenges where it comes to providing or having the capacity to meet the increased demand in energy in Belize. Life expectancy is another very big thing. Life expectancy is 74 years with all the, really the Prime Minister mentioned, the commitment to the SDGs. SDG 4, speaking about health. SDG 5, speaking about gender equality. And of course, our climate, as we know, is subtropical. So when you talk about solar energy, it's about finding the technology to harness that. And of course, finding those photovoltaic batteries that can take the excess capacity. Our season, we have a dry and a wet. And when it's 70 degrees, that's winter for us. And I think it was DG who mentioned, or several of the presenters mentioned Central Standard Time, but proximity. All these things are important. So with the new airlifts, it is so easy, and still so easy to get to Belize or get to the first entrance, in some cases, Florida or Miami. The Belize dollar, as was mentioned, it's pegged, and that peg has been for over 30 years. It has been for quite a while. And so that strength still allows us, when it comes to doing business, gives us that ability. Of course, in some countries, in some jurisdictions, they still believe, really it's more floating, which changes almost on a daily basis. Transportation, our airport is expanding. And of course, we talk about the major ports. Okay, I got it. The other thing we must focus on, economic indicators are very important. Our unemployment rate is about 3%. It was 2.8, it's now 3%. In economics, that's referred to as full employment, which means that anyone who is looking for a job and qualifies under those characteristics has a job. And I think the Prime Minister mentioned the challenge where labor is concerned, because you have now a situation where with the BPOs hiring over 15,000 people, only second to the public sector. You can imagine the challenge. So there's even rotation within. It gives us an opportunity for further capacity building and diversification in skills. And so the labor force is close to 200,000. So just think about that. We're in the City of Angels, you said, DG? Think about that as a percentage of the population of California. I think another important thing to mention is whenever we hear about MSMEs, we used to think about them as mom and pop, meaning the two-person business, the one-person business, less than 5 employees, sales of less than 100,000. There was recently an alignment with the World Bank's definition. And the thought process here is, since we talk about risk, and because MSMEs to a large extent cannot collateralize their ability to access affordable financing from a commercial institution, the alignment with the World Bank was necessary. Necessary in this sense that it now should reduce risk. Who were once considered large in Belize are now part of this space. And so the definition is now less than 200, less than 10 to over 300 or 300 individuals. And of course, when it comes to sales, less than 200,000, and really it goes up to 30 million. The rest is on the other slide. That is important. See, it's important because you also heard about the removable asset register, which grants rights to the lender. First rights if you default, but at least it should reduce the risk, become less risk averse. So in essence, the cost of using money, interest, should be affordable. So here are the priority sectors. These are the priority sectors, and this was done with broad-based consultation. The Prime Minister mentioned traditional and non-traditional. We also saw what happened when the pandemic hit us, the almost immediate downturn. And so we must ensure that if that force majeure, which we cannot control, should come again or something similar, our economy is resilient. So we look at agro-processing, aquaculture, and mariculture. And mariculture is offshore. There I go using that word. Offshore aquaculture. And this is where you can use resources for pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals. In other words, expanding our market offerings. Auto rentals, that's a big one. Education, we hear about financial products. They're also educational products, because as you build capacity and increase competitiveness, it's important for us to do so. Global digital services. The pandemic taught us that we have to live 6 feet apart. And if you did not have a digital footprint, you'd have been left from the market. The government launched its digital agenda, and under that digital agenda, we're looking at new products. There's Prime Minister mentioned a Ministry of E-Governance. The global digital services allows us to bridge. Imagine, sometime in the past, if we were standing here in a room talking about something, it would not have been transmitted to Belize. All of that has taught us, so thanks to XTV. The fact that we're talking here those who are not currently and physically present can participate. Logistics, our location makes it very challenging for us. And so therefore, logistical services, thinking about transportation, which is one of those big challenges, to transport from Belize, and the fact that you don't have a Caribbean airline, something that, for example, moves from Belize and goes straight to Guyana, takes me 2 days to get to Guyana. Leave Belize one day and you get there the following night around midday. You overnight somewhere in Miami. These are the things that we need to fix. These are the things that we're looking at. And so there's a Ministry of Logistics, and as transportation, shipping, we might find a way where that cost of having to go through Miami, and I'm not saying you don't go, but the more cost effective we are, the more productive we become. Tourism and leisure. There's a tourism and diaspora relations. And as we know, and as the ambassador and the CEO Solana would know, because they have the statistics, the rebound has been great. So what 44% of GDP that fell in towards 2020, 2022, that rebound, that negative has become a great positive. New airlifts. Go to Belize Airport on a Saturday, and when you see all of those planes just lining off and landing. But of course, logistically, it might pose a problem to clear all of those individuals who are landing, for example. But that is being taken into consideration. That's not an overnight thing because it's a physical asset. Taxi or bus services. So we're incorporating everyone who operates within that space, within our market space, because it's all about macroeconomic development. Software engineering and network services. I spoke to several software developers yesterday. Not long ago, we had a fintech forum. I've been dialoguing with members of the FSC as well, because Pierre mentioned it, collaboration is key. If we all work together to create that environment that we seek, it will reduce the cost of everything we do, mental, physical, and financial. Renewable energy. We have confirmed to everything net zero by 2050. And so that's a big thing for us. We want to reach a point where we can satisfy our demand, whether it's peak or off peak. When everybody turn on their lights and think you don't need to turn it off back when you move, because remember, conservation is also a part of it. And so to increase, you've heard about the 60 megawatt plant, biomass, hydro, but all of us who are, we saw the dry, and hydro could not produce because the water must be at a certain level. Well, now it's raining electricity in Belize. I just made up that one. I think so too. If it's stolen by the FSC, my lawyer is behind me here, Claude. Orange economy. We hear about the creative industry. But what has happened, Belize has segregated its economy. Blue, green, and orange. Blue entrepreneurship, green entrepreneurship, and orange entrepreneurship. And while orange is the color of fire, and the mind, intellectual property of the individual, can that fire that drives your creativity, that fire that makes you a market leader when there's a need for differentiation or change of strategy. Medical tourism. We were having this conversation, I'm not sure if it was yesterday. I think it was with Dr. Trumbach. Because we were to meet before and we met for the past few days, but we have made up for it in conversation, Dr. Trumbach. So medical tourism. you can go to Belize, and many who go to Belize, tourists, utilize our health programs, our medical facilities, medical and dental facilities. So you see what happens. There are value created, but what we must ensure is that we offer the spender the product that the spender needs, quality and standard. And of course, manufacturing. We mostly focus on light manufacturing. But in order for us to reduce the cost of producing a unit with greater efficiency, there is a need for us to focus on that. And so technology adaptation, inclusion, because as we usually say, you make that initial cost, what is called a sunk cost, but in the long run, you see how the cost recovery takes place and the profits that you seek. But the benefits for those beneficiaries, those things are realized and they're materialized. So in 2023, after extensive consultation, Act 54 was changed to Act 4 of 2023. This Act, after, like I said, extensive consultation, what do the investors, the foreign direct investor, and I must emphasize because too often I hear the local investors do not get the same benefit. That is not true. The foreign investor and the local investor are governed by the same act. And so those incentives can be accessed, whether you inbound or you reside. And joint ventures are encouraged. So it was changed. The Prime Minister also mentioned, I'll just say this again, that under that very same act, an amnesty was extended. If you register your business, formalize, because through formalization you have a tax identifier number or identification number which uniquely identifies you to access the benefits. But that comes with formalization. Formalization does not equate to taxation. That's not the purpose. The purpose is for you to be included, access, so we can know your needs. It's not to tax. And so there's an amnesty that is also extended up to 31st of October of this year. And remember, retroactive taxation will not happen. And I can repeat that because it's true. And so we have a one-off fiscal incentive program up to a maximum of $1 million on capital investments in the approved activity. So if you apply, and while you're waiting, as your application goes through the process, which by the way should not take more than 90 days, you should spend 7 days at Beltrade and it gets out and I pass it on to the next step. So it should not exceed, but of course it requires compliance and meeting all the guideline requirements. And it goes as quickly as possible. Ensuring, of course, that there is environmental compliance and all those different areas that fall within the investment value chain. So that's up to $1 million. You can apply while you're waiting. MSME Fiscal Incentive Program, the Prime Minister mentioned this as well, so I'll just repeat it. The Fiscal Incentive Act 2023 has a special carve-out for MSMEs, where the processes are simplified. In fact, if you were to apply as a MSME, audited financials are not required, but doesn't mean you don't give us a financial report. Because reducing your costs of participation, that's basically what it is. So the fiscal incentive program is up to 4 years, but there's an ecosystem. So we expect that after 4 years, there will be some growth, and you'd migrate through that ecosystem. But after the 4 years are concluded,
it can be extended up to another 4. So it's $2 million, 1 million US, as I'm talking Belize here. And it's 2 to 1, so it's 1 million US dollars, but those who operate within Belize operate with Belize currency. And then, of course, this regular program up to a period of 5 years with an option to renew for another 5 years. In the past, you would have heard about 25 years tax holidays. No, that's not the case. In your application, you give us a developmental plan. It's assess and to see what was achieved in those 5 years. So that when you come for the extension, they must have shown some kind of transformation of your activity. So in 5-year increments, yes, it goes up to 5 years. But each 5 years require an application for extension. Because remember, the macro economy must also grow. And your approval of that incentive, the macroeconomic contribution, those are things we look at. How much employment will be created? And then, of course, like I said, up to a maximum of 5 years. And so the information, but I just want to repeat what the Prime Minister said, since he said it as well. 20% of total procurement, total goods and services consumed by the government must be from the micro, small, and medium enterprise sector. Must be. It's legislated. All right? It's legislated. As a matter of fact, we have several promotions going on in Belize, made in Belize, by Belizean. There are quite a number of them. And then, of course, these are just the others that are included. Import duty, excise duty, revenue replacement duty, payment of business tax, micro, that's the amnesty. After you formalize, the amnesty is for a whole year, so you're not retroactively taxed. You're given a further exemption. We want for you to be in the space, to operate. So notice, it is segregated, and segregated in this case is used positively. To identify where you operate and to see how we can contribute to your growth. Beltrade provides advising. If you're ready to export, we do gap analysis for you. When you want to invest, we take you through the process. Our logo is making business happen. But I add to it, we hold your hand until you let go of ours. The other incentive is the designated processing area. And this one was once known as the export processing zone. But we were told that there was a need for us to change because of the export mention. Someone was asking me something, I think it was yesterday. Trade can be distorted if your productive process is subsidized. Meaning, if someone subsidizes the cost of your inputs, then the production cost per unit actually goes down. When another that is not subsidized, then it simply means I am less competitive. And so there must be compliance with the World Trade Organization. And Belize complied in 2018. Belize has complied. You hear about times when they might have been blacklisted, grey-listed. These gentlemen in the front here can tell you, because Ronaldo and I work on the team, that when we had to make sure that laws were speaking to each other. And the team did a great job. Just being a member of that team was educational. And so we did that. And so what we have now, these are the eligible sectors: agro-processing, aquaculture, manufacturing, data processing, developer, and the eligible categories and the ineligible categories, which I think we all would understand.
Ammunition and firearms? No. That's out. But this is another opportunity where spaces are designated in which accessing these benefits you can operate. And so these are the benefits under the DPA. Import duty, exemption from property and land taxes, exemption from excise and consumption, that's GST. The FI, GST, no. This one, GST, yes. Preferential tax base, opportunity to open foreign currency bank accounts in Belize, opportunity to sell, lease, or transfer goods, customs inspection, work permits, supplies control, and these are the lists, and they're current. So it tells you that as Belize seeks to continue to expand its hub as an investment destination, there are all of these initiatives that exist. And size, whether you're micro, and by the way, let me just say this. Notice there was a less than sign, which means those whose sales are less than 200,000, you are not forgotten. We just refer to them now as micro. And the opportunities exist for you as well. So it's a no one left behind kind of situation. And I think the PM mentioned this, and this is a bill that will be moved, headed by FSCDG as a working group. This was something I must tell you again. Great consultation, extensive consultation, and so what we have now is something that should satisfy all those who will be operating within the space. For too long it has been a case, you don't have collateral, so I will raise the interest rate and take you off the market. If I have a movable asset that can be used as collateral, then I grant you rights, that if I default, but I can't, of course, I must make sure that whatever collateral I'm using is unencumbered, meaning it's not registered with some other commercial institution. Because when it comes to who gets it, who has first rights and second rights, that becomes a challenge. And so this should reduce that risk. This should allow for greater access to not just finance, but affordable finance. Because the cost of using money should not be the thing that keeps you from operating within a market space, or marketplace. And of course, I think DG said this already, so we could just, when you go, you register business, etc., and make sure that you register for GST, Social Security, business tax, because remember, if you don't reach certain thresholds, then the tax is not applicable. But you would have registered already, and you're able to access these benefits, economic benefits, because you're granted that TIN, your unique identifier. PM mentions a national ID. For right now, that becomes the TIN number that says, yes, you're legal to access these benefits. So that when Beltrade clicks the green button and tell customs to release the goods and you get your exemptions, your name is there. And I just want to end with this because I hear several of the colleagues, including PM, first person to mention it. There were a number of policies and strategies that were not in isolation, not without thinking about the beneficiaries. The National Investment Policy and Strategy was the first. The MSME Policy and Strategy was revised. It's the second version of it, but more futuristic. And when we talk about export, having a roadmap on how we do that, and the fact that we can help you with that transformation, the transformation in the sense that if you need to go to a market, as Mose will say to you, there is global market access. It's whether or not what you want to put in that market meets the compliance requirements. Otherwise, they don't enter. So you can't just decide, I want to go into a market. The market decides whether you enter or not. And that's why what we did, holistically, wholesomely, took a look at the marketplace and merged these three documents, and now call it BIBCAP, looking at the whole business and investment climate of Belize, and there is an action plan, creating the space. But within it as well is skills development, because, as I like to say, investors don't go to a country because you have high unemployment. Investors go to your country because you have skills that can be leveraged. Otherwise, they don't go. It's not that they just want to employ people. At the end of the day, it's a mutually beneficial or symbiotic relationship that is established. I benefit, you benefit. But for us who are engaged in the whole analysis of whatever you want to present, we must ensure that that happens. And so you have these pillars, and I'm telling you, this is now being implemented. And it requires all hands on deck, public and private sector, for us to fully implement this. I want to say again, thanks to the organizers, to my brother Mike, and to Rishma and Aria and all of those, because many times you don't see everyone. But just like me, and I told them that I see the agenda, because we work as Beltrade, we work as a team. Beltrade, I speak on your behalf, and not because all of you are not here, but you all know that whatever was presented here is because we are committed to what we do. Thank you.
And that is the presentation by head of Beltrade, Brother Almendares. And we are deep into the investment forum, about to do it about the last hour 15 minutes of the investment forum. We have a presentation, I believe, to come from Kalila Reynolds. She's already in the building, as they say. Katie?
We also have,
yes, sir.
Go that way. We also have a land clinic and an immigration clinic that's happening at the same time. And as we mentioned earlier, we will have a meet and greet with the Prime Minister at 4 to 5 in this room. So if you want to come back and be able to speak with him in a more one-on-one basis, we would appreciate that, and I think that it's a good time to be able to have informal discussions.
Just look at Rishma on the screen for a second.
I have to do another song and dance to distract everyone.
Yes, please.
But while you cue that up, and I've had Mr. Cobb, I've had the benefit of hearing his speeches before, quite dynamic. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the CEO of ECI Development, Mr. Michael Cobb, to talk about the Marriott residences in Belize. And I am sure you'll be able to cue up the presentation by the time that he's done.
I can, and I can tap dance too.
Yeah.
Yes, but Michael, come on up here. I want to thank you, first of all, for all that you're doing to really get Belize out there to the bigger and broader community. You make my job so much easier, and I thank you for that, and I would like to present you with a copy of my brand new book that's actually July 22nd, it actually launches, so you're getting a pre-release copy, but that is for you, and really, again, thank you for all you're doing to make it really work, so absolutely.
Thank you for your support.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're going to go. Let me kind of just start with the bigger picture. I mean, I think, by the way, anybody not Belizean here today? A few. Okay, so it's a largely Belizean audience, which is great. And you know, one of the things I was talking with some of my colleagues about this morning on the phone, I was down here yesterday walking around and just seeing what was happening. I was just so happy and enthused to see, whatever, 15 or 20 lands people and maybe 15 or 20 immigration people in the next office. You know, what a tremendous service this is to the community here. I didn't realize, somebody mentioned 100,000 Belizeans living in the Southern California region, and I mean, that's just incredible. So to be able to bring those services to the folks here is powerfully wonderful. Now, somebody outside just whispered to me earlier, and they said, yeah, but now Houston, Miami, and Chicago want it too. So anyway, you got a little bit of work ahead of you. Okay, that's good. No, all good. I'll click on the arrow. All right. So, you know, one of the things that I've been doing now, my very first trip to Belize was back in 1993. So that's 31 years ago. I was in Belize City. I was in San Pedro. Things were very different then than they are today, of course. But one of the benefits has been for me to actually watch Belize evolve and grow over the years. And part of this presentation is about this evolution of a country, evolution of a tourism destination. That's my business. I've been a development professional now for as a development company, ECI Development, for 28 years. And so to watch this process happen, to be an active participant in the process of an evolution of a tourism market is phenomenal. It's incredible. It's wonderful. And I have to say that I'm extremely grateful that I've had the opportunity to do that over these years. And so this presentation is, you know, why Belize, why right now? Some of the stuff, this is a presentation I give to, you know, several thousand people a year. I speak at about 40 live events, and I'm on about maybe 30 or 40 podcasts every year as well. And Belize always focuses dead center of what I talk about. This presentation, this comment right here, I wouldn't have said 3 years ago. And 3 years from now, I probably wouldn't say it for my business, for this specific opportunity, because Belize is truly in the sweet spot of the tourism path of progress. And we'll talk about why that is and what that looks like as we get into the presentation, maybe. Help. There we go. Thank you. All right. You guys know all this. This is the same stuff Dr. Almendarez just mentioned. But, you know, English is the official language, but actually more important for our clients coming out of North America, English, of course, that's the easy button, right? But the more important piece of this is the common law. Everywhere in Central America and Latin America is civil law. And it's Spanish or Portuguese, right? And so when you get into documents that are written in Spanish, for example, and they're legal in Spanish, and it's in a legal system that's unfamiliar to most North Americans, that's a big challenge, right? But we've got common law and documents legal in English. That is absolutely a huge, huge plus for the country of Belize. Yeah, we're a Caribbean country. I like the bridge between Central America and the Caribbean. I think that's a great way to describe Belize. And again, for folks that have never been to Ambergris Caye specifically, some of the slides are, you know, about that, right? To kind of give the flavor of what the country is like to people who may or may not have ever been there. So why own in Belize right now? Well, we had a great presentation a few moments ago and the rest of the morning, but the economy is growing. Right? Some of the statistics that were just put up, $1.3 billion economy, it's growing, unemployment at 3%, which is truly full employment, right? So growing economy, strong economy. I heard the gentleman from Forex, I don't like the word cheap. He said, cheap real estate. I think the better word is affordable real estate. And there really is a value proposition in the country of Belize on the price of real estate. Strong banking laws, financial services. Luigi will be talking about that from Key Bank in a few minutes. And then the bottom one. This is almost unheard of throughout Central America. Financing for foreigners, right? Most of the folks in here, Belizean, no problem. Run down to the bank and get a loan, get a mortgage. But if you're from the United States or Canada and you want to get a loan in Belize or, Panama, Costa Rica, wherever, it's almost impossible. And so the ability to give somebody a loan to own a piece of property in Belize is huge. It's huge. It's a game changer in the real estate sales market, right? Not so much in the development side of things, but in the sales side of things. Because all of a sudden you're making a product accessible to somebody who said, you know what, I don't have $150,000 to invest in this home or this condo or this property. But you know what, I do have $30,000 I can put down on it, right? And you can finance the rest. It opens the doors to so many more people who want to own a property in Belize. So this is a game changer in the industry. I think Luigi will talk a little bit more about that as well. Talk about this path of progress. I saw a few kind of eyebrows raised when I said, 3 or 4 years ago, I probably wouldn't have said why Belize, why right now, for a specific reason. And I think in maybe 3 or 4 years, I probably wouldn't say it for the same reason. I might still say it. I might say why Belize, why right now, but it won't be for the reason that we're going to talk about today. When I first got to Belize, by the way, I like to use this as a popularity. Sometimes they call it what's it called, path of progress curve, development curve, whatever. I actually call it the popularity curve. Here's how I put the various countries on here. I say to myself, if a young couple here in Los Angeles or Des Moines, Iowa, right, gets married tomorrow, Saturday, where are they likely to go on their honeymoon Monday? Right? Popularity, where are they going on their honeymoon, right? You know what? Not very many going to Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador, and a ton of them going to the Bahamas and Cancun, right? Right? That's where they're going. 30 years ago, Belize was here. Most U.S. consumers, unless you were a serious fly fisherman or diver, had no clue where Belize was. Right? But over but we're going to get to this in a minute, but the popular culture, the popularity of the country in the United States changed dramatically starting in 1991 when that first cruise ship came. It put Belize into the mind of what I would call a mainstream traveler. What a change in market. And Belize became more and more popular. We had Temptation Island. We had, they've given away free weeks in Belize on Wheel of Fortune game show, right? Now it's in the popular culture, right? And that's where we are today. We're in this popular culture. We're popular enough and known enough to be a destination that some of those honeymooners will honeymoon to, but we're not nearly as popular as this. So what does that really mean? It means that Belize is in the sweet spot of the curve for real estate investors right now, right? It's popular enough to cash flow, but there's a lot of room for appreciation. This is really why Belize, why right now in the marketplace that we're going to talk about. I like one of the presentations I give is called the time machine, right? I talk about a time machine and the ability for people to kind of go back in time, right? And if somebody says to me, gosh, I really wish I would have bought that condo in Bahamas or Cancun or Costa Rica 20 years ago. The next words out of my mouth are, you can. It's called Belize, right now. Right? Bahamas, 20 years ago. It's a time machine, right? This is a powerful concept, and it works. It gets people thinking along these lines of, why right now? So Bahamas, $1 million, whatever, $999, but $1 million, 1 bed, 2 bath, 974 square feet. This is the autograph product in the Bahamas. It's the Atlantis, right? $1 million. At our Marriott that we're building right now, open in August of 2025, it's half price. It's half price. It's $500,000, right? So there's two ways to look at that. Of course, you can save $500, or you can earn $500 as Belize becomes more and more popular, right? But the things that are driving this, the big one is airlift. Airlift is huge. For a long time, it was just United. Where's American? Somewhere, American on here. United, American. Delta showed up. Copa once in a while. Glad they're back. But what's happened recently is we're starting to pick up people like Southwest, WestJet, right? Discount carriers, obviously the Central American route, Alaska Airlines, right? When you start to pick up the discount carriers and you're starting to put airlift into the country at a reasonable price point, you get a whole different type of consumer, and that consumer wants a different type of product. Overnight arrivals, the thing that just impresses me, and I make sure it impresses the people in my audience, is look at how fast after COVID the bounce back in Belize was. Wow, I've seen other countries, it's more like this, right? Belize, it's a strong, in fact, this year, where are we at, 24? I mean, we'll be over this. We'll be over, right? I mean, that is a strong bounce back. And, there's a lot of reasons for that. Then where are folks coming from? About 2/3 of the folks coming to Belize are from the US, Canada, a little bit, Europe, whatever. And knock on wood, we will see a direct flight from Europe sometime soon, whatever soon is. That'll be wonderful, because that will open up a whole new market segment for hospitality, tourism for the country of Belize. So, and we talk about why Belize, why right now? But the adage in real estate is, right, location, 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 right? It's always about location. And this is where it gets thin. This is the thin slicing. This is the nuance of the business, right? So why Belize? I think I hope we've made a pretty good case. You guys probably agree with me, Belize, right? But we've made a good case for the country. But why Ambergris Caye? Why this small little place? Well, the big reason, if you're an investor, let me be clear. When I give presentations, I give several different types of presentations. Sometimes they're investor-oriented, sometimes they're lifestyle-oriented. And those are two very different decision-making processes. If you're a lifestyle person, you're making a heart decision, right? Oh, I love the view out my front window. I like my neighbors. I like the little bar down the street that I can go and hang out and sing karaoke in at night, or whatever it is. It's a heart decision. It's all about how I feel about it. That's a lifestyle decision. Investment decisions are made with our head. They're about numbers. They're about data. Right? It's a very different decision-making process. This presentation is really geared towards the investor group, and when you look at the data, 2/3 of all the revenue, tourism revenue for the country of Belize happen on this tiny little island. When you look at that number, if you want to be a real estate investor in the hospitality space, you absolutely want to be in Ambergris Caye. Right? On the other hand, if you want a beautiful home on the beach and you don't like the crowds, you want to be in Placencia, PG, Dangriga, right? Lots of beautiful places in the country to be if it's a lifestyle. But if it's an investment and you care about earning return on your investment, you really want to be in Ambergris Caye, because you want to be where all the honeymooners go. You want to be where all the people are coming for vacation and spending lots of money, right? Generating revenues. This slide and the next slide, I think, are so powerfully telling about Ambergris Caye. The reason I like this one and the next one is that they're not editorial. No offense to my wonderful BTB folks. They do a great job of getting editorial content placed in magazines, and that's wonderful, and I hope they keep doing it. But see, there, we're saying what we believe about the country, right? We're saying all the good stuff. I like this because Airbnb are just people like us. We have a home, we have a condo, we rent it out. What do we think of the country? What do we think of Ambergris Caye? A+. There's some other good grades in here too, by the way. Ambergris Caye. People just like us, normal people who happen to have a property and we rent it, give Ambergris Caye an A+. And the next slide, same thing. TripAdvisor. These are people who just go on vacation. Again, they don't have a dog in the fight, right? They just love it because they love it, and they tell people they love it, right? Again, when the users of the product or the business people that have a property that they rent start giving you A+ and number 1s, that says so much about the destination, about the country. And they're coming for this. I mean, you guys know all this stuff. So just fun things. This is why people come. By the way, this is why people keep coming back and back and back and back, right? The recidivism of visitors to Belize is high, right? It's really high. And I alluded to this earlier, and I just want to drill down on it because this cannot be overstated. I remember my first trip to Belize was 1993, started our first business there in 1994, a little mortgage company, which ultimately became Key Bank. But back in the early 90s, I became a member of the Belize Tourism Industry Association, BTIA, and the Belize Hotel Association. And I remember, this is probably now going into the mid to late 90s, 97, 98. I remember there was this incredible resistance to cruise ships, right? I remember especially the Hotel Association. Why should we support cruise ships? They just drop people off and they get back on the cruise ship. They don't, they don't spend any money in our hotels, right? They don't spend money in our restaurants. And I remember another hotelier who I think is maybe one of the best in the business, certainly one of the best on Ambergris Key, Julia Edwards at the Sunbreeze. She and I lobbied really hard in both of those associations to support the cruise ship arrivals to Belize. Because both of us understood that if you're thinking 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, if only 1% of the people get off of a 4,000 or 5,000 person cruise ship, we had 300 and some last year, right? I can't do that math in my head. Anyway, it's a lot of people. If only 1% of those people say, I'm coming back to Belize someday, that's a lot of people coming back to Belize. It's a lot of exposure to a beautiful, wonderful country that 30 years ago, most people had never heard of in the United States. Right? But now a lot of people have, and a lot more people have, right? These cruise ships have done this. This is what changed the nature of popular tourism in the country of Belize, and yeah, the cruise ships kept most of the money. I get that. Good for them. But what it did for us was transform a market into something wonderful, powerful, and popular. That's what the cruise ship industry did for us. Cruise ship arrivals, you can see lots of numbers. Again, lots of people coming. And then, what's that say, 1 million? Almost 1 million, right? 900,000? Right. If just 1% of those people say they're coming back sometime in the next 3, 5, 10 years, it's a big number, right? It's a big number of folks. This slide is maybe the only slide that I would need when I'm presenting to investors. Because this slide screams about as loud as you can possibly scream the word opportunity. Till COVID, right? From 300,000 to 500,000 overnight arrivals, rooms went from 1,800 to 2,200. That gap is opportunity in all caps, with exclamation points and stars, and that is opportunity right there. The other thing that cruise ships did, which we saw picked up by the airlift industry, was it changed the nature of the consumer from a very specialized niche consumer, an Uber diver, a serious fly fisherman, right? It changed the nature of who's coming, and the airline industry responded quickly. Oh, Southwest, bring in the mainstream travelers. Oh, JetBlue now, right, out of New York, and right? So we've got this change of who's coming, and it's the mass market, right? Branded product. Because when somebody takes a cruise ship, they're on a cruise ship, they're the kind of customer who, when they say, I want to come back to Belize, what's the first thing they probably do? They probably log on to their computer and they go, you know what? I got all these Hilton points. I have all these Marriott points, right? I'm running around the U.S., Canada, racking up points, on my business trips, right? I want to use those points. Well, you got to stay at a Hilton. You got to stay at a Marriott. You got to stay at somewhere where they take the points, right? Mass consumer market, very, very different. So a few years ago, about 3 years ago, we talked to Best Western, and we picked up the Best Western franchise for Ambergris Caye. Right? We are Best Western in Ambergris Caye. It's a nice product. It's not luxury. It's not super sexy. But, you know, for $150 a night, you can stay in a Caribbean island 2 blocks off the water. Right? It's a great fit. And we also picked up the Marriott franchise because that's a different market. That's a higher end market, a very sexy product right on the water. This is our Grand Bayman Best Western. Just give you an idea. Again, it's a wonderful, fine product, right? And folks can own the residences there starting at about $150,000. And they can put them in, they can live in them. We have people, about a third of the folks who own these live in them or rent them out full time. And about 2/3 put them in a nightly program. And again, they rent for, you know, $125, $150, $175 a month. But the Marriott, again, is a very different product. And it's transformative for us as a company. We've been around for 28 years. But it's also transformative for Belize. It's transformative for the industry. It's transformative for, you know, the country, which is incredible. A couple years ago, we had our ceremonial groundbreaking. The important thing about this day was the day that we had all the money to build the hotel. Well, maybe a month or two before that. But the bottom line is that a lot of projects bet on the come. Oh yeah, we got half the money. Let's go. Right? And we just see lots of buildings half built, right? Because the other half doesn't come, right? And we see them all over the place. When we had all the money lined up to build our Marriott, we had a big party, and we had ceremonial groundbreaking. And, you know, then you have to hire the engineers and architects and turn them on, and that takes a little while. So about a year later, we're doing site prep, putting piles in the ground and running them down to bedrock, 270 piles, pouring the first basement slab, stuff like that. Coming up out of the ground, steel started arriving in January. This was February, a lot of steel going in. This picture was just, I don't know, last month, I guess I was down there, I took some pictures. Waiting on the floor panels to get floor panels on the first 2 stories to stabilize the steel. All the steel's there. As soon as we get the panels in and over to the island, I think there's some already there, we'll get all the way up to the 5 stories, and then it'll just roll. And we'll be open, soft opening next August. August of 2025, and thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's exciting. It is really exciting, and but going back, one of the things, again, this is I always like to point this out, especially for investors, because look, you see a lot of opportunities and propositions. Hey, if you buy this condo and we rent it out for $200 a night and you get 60% occupancy, you're going to make 15% ROI, whatever it is. You see these performers floating around all over the place, right? You see them up and down the beach of San Pedro all the time. Well, my question as a consumer would be, wow, if you do this, I get 15%. And they go, yep, right here. Here it is, right on paper. Right here. Here it is, the pro forma. My next question would be, how many are you keeping? I want every bit of 15% I can get, don't you? Right? I mean, if it's such a great deal for me, imagine how much better of a deal it is for you, because you're not paying the markup. You're not paying the profit, right? It might be a 20% return to you on cost. We're keeping 60 or more % of the residences, our company, because we believe that this will be highly profitable, and we want as much of the profit as we can keep. We'll share 40% with other folks, but 60% of it is coming back to us. We also have an investor program. I'm not going to talk on this, but it's an interesting program where it lets us keep more, basically. Basically, what we do is we give the investor 100% of the income. You, the investor, get 100% of the rental income until you've received double your money. You have unlimited usage rights, all that good stuff. And at the end of that period, when you've gotten twice your money, enjoyed it for weeks a year, months a year, whatever it is, we get it back. We keep it. So it actually allows us to keep more of the residences. We've been around for 28 years. People used to laugh at me when I'd say, look, we're building a 100-year company. People would kind of chuckle. I was a young guy back then, We're building a 100-year company, and we've been through a third of that. Right? And when you're looking at those kinds of time frames, you do things differently. You think differently. You think long-term. You think, well, gosh, how can we get more of these back because we want the cash flow for the next forever, right? Oceanfront properties in a Marriott-branded property for $320,000. So this is a very, very accessible product, financing up to 80%. Again, making this available to a very wide number of people who want to own a piece of, I would say, the future of Belize. That's an easy way to get a hold of me, by the way, info@ecidevelopment.com. We have a Belize handbook. If you're interested in the stuff about the Marriott, let me know. But I think that's it. I appreciate your time and look forward to seeing many of you on San Pedro. US dollars, yes. Thank you. Absolutely.
Perfect segue into our next presenter, the president of the Key International Bank, Mr. Luigi Vervege. Got it.
Nailed it. That?
Yeah, you just slide it up.
You just slide it up? So I can't, Oh, like that, right? Yeah, I think I could make...
That is a presentation being made about tourism. This is an investment for, okay, so we're going to go back to the
bank, Burgers Key. I realize I'm standing between, obviously, you guys and lunch, and I'll try and be brief because Mike asked many of you whether you are Belizean, and I noticed normally my presentation is for a North American audience, so I'll go through the Belize stuff pretty quick. Just a bit of background on the banks. So I'm moving it up here. There we go. All right. So the bank actually started as a mortgage company in 1996 and became a fully licensed bank in 2003. What the founders actually realized is that Americans were coming to the island, falling in love with Belize and Burgers Key, calling their banker in the States and asking if they could get financing for a condo, a villa, etc. And the banks in America would not finance that at all. And so they would walk into the domestic banks in Belize and ask for financing. And the domestic banks would say, well, are you a Belizean citizen or resident? They weren't, so they had nowhere to turn, and this is the gap in the market that the founders realized, and that's how Key got started in 96. As I mentioned, fully licensed bank in 2003. Hi, all right, sorry. And the person who just spoke before is the co-founder of the bank and has been here since 1996, Mike Cobb. And we are now the biggest international bank deposit-wise in Belize. Just a brief background on myself. I'm actually the published author of The Digital Banking Revolution. I have also co-authored economic research that was presented before the United States Congress. Just the next slide is just the book and the research that went before the United States Congress. It was on the accuracy of credit unions. All right, as I mentioned, I'll just go through some of the high points. As the Prime Minister mentioned, small country. It is actually the lowest population and lowest population density in Central America, so, lots of room to grow. A quick fact I found very interesting, Belize, we sometimes sell ourselves short. Obviously the Mayan civilization, one of the greatest civilizations to ever live. And one of the things that I found interesting is the aqueducts. So a lot of people believe that Romans were the ones that came up with aqueducts, but the Mayan civilization around the same time actually figured out the aqueducts as well. All right, just obviously a lot of you know the founding of history with the Baymen coming together with the English to fight the Spanish. Diverse country with obviously Spanish being one of the main languages. For my American friends, one thing that always sticks with them is obviously the second biggest barrier reef in the world, Commonwealth country, and the king is essentially the head of state for Belize. Now, Just wanted to touch on a couple of areas. The Prime Minister obviously mentioned some of these. Obviously, English being the primary language of business through the world. Belize's location, its proximity between North and South America, and obviously legislation plays a huge part in this. Now, most of our clients at the bank actually are due to incorporation, so this is quite a huge aspect to us, the Belizean Trust, the LLCs, etc. So just also for our 4 areas, which basically has allowed allowed Key to exist and to attract clients is Belize Bank secrecy. I think Switzerland, also the liquidity ratio is almost, so for every dollar that goes in, almost a quarter of that has to stay untouched within the system. So compare that to America where, if a bank collapses, about 3 to 5% might be left there. With us, it's at least a quarter. Right now, it's actually at 32%. So now you might be wondering, like, who needs Key? Why would you need Key? So the first thing I would say is asset protection. So our clients essentially are looking to diversify from their home base. So it's a very simplistic example, but you look at how when Putin was about to invade Ukraine, we had a lot of Ukrainian clients. As Putin invaded, we started having Romanians, Moldovans. Closer to home, we're having Brazilians now concerned with their politics, and even Americans now who are concerned with what's going to happen in November. Now, the second aspect to that is diversification. So what some people do is they'll take $500,000, put it with Key, and then they'll exchange, say, 200,000 into British pounds or Swiss francs. The third aspect to it is, I put here global business. So a lot of people, so when you transact in America, it's like a 6-lane highway. It just kind of flows. But when you take US dollars outside of the US financial system, it becomes quite difficult to transact. And so we step in to assist people. So say, for example, you've got a villa in Belize, Costa Rica, Panama, etc., and you're wanting to pay your architect. Often our American client has a credit union as their bank, and they don't have a SWIFT. And so they don't have the ability to pay further south. And so they open a bank account with Key and transact with us through that way. All right. So this is the same as the history I mentioned, 1996. When I first started, there was about, I think, 6 international banks. There's now 3 of us that are left. And just, don't take my word for how great Key is. We often get awarded as the best bank in the Caribbean and CARICOM. Here's just a few of the awards and the press releases. Now, you would obviously notice the line through here. So Key is a financial institution which is based in Belize. We do not have a license in America, so I can't get very specific on things like interest rates. So, I'm happy to take questions by email afterwards when I get back, but I can't get too specific on stuff like that. What I can go over is the financing aspect. We do have residential financing. We do have, we work quite closely with ECI and the Marriott as well. So actually just a quick one on that. So I've heard over the years a lot of people in Belize have kind of questioned, why do you need an international bank to exist? Why do you need this offshore space? So imagine an American that buys a villa up north on Ambergris Key. He's now not only buying that villa, he's hiring several people to help maintain that villa. He's coming down, he's bringing friends, he's groceries. The added effect for the economy that we've looked at is quite substantial. Just wanted to run through a couple quick services that we do have. We do have a Visa card that obviously can be used anywhere the Visa card is located. And we've also worked pretty hard on correspondent relationships and payment providers. And so we've actually utilizing correspondents in Puerto Rico, New York, Spain, India, Singapore, and Hong Kong. I'd say the most exotic thing that we do have is our gold loan program out of Zurich. So we have a partnership with a vault there. You move your gold into our vault, and we will lend up to 75% of the value of that gold. And what's quite also unique is that we actually also have the ability to cash if a bank in America provides you with a check, we can actually cash it even though we're a Belizean institution. All right, and quickly just on account opening, straightforward process. Obviously for personal, there's an application, proof of address, passport, etc. We need the same for corporate and the company documents. You don't have to fly to Belize in order to open a bank account. You can do it online remotely. You have the ability to utilize a paper-based application, or we do have a digital version now that you can actually go through the process on. All right, that was it. Short and sweet. Thank you.
Short and sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Luigi. As Mr. Luigi said, I don't want to be the person to stand between you and lunch, but we do want to go ahead and open the floor to some Q&As, and then for those in the audience who would like to say a few words, make comments, talk about the businesses that they have, very short, and we can make sure that we have some interaction from the audience. And I'll start because I do have a question for Dr. Leroy. When you talked about the priority sectors, I was curious about your take on Airbnbs and Verbos in terms of the accommodations. As a priority sector. Thank you, Des.
Thank you, Rishma. I didn't, I don't necessarily don't want to, I think Cyril Nicole Solano, but where this is concerned, I know we've had a discussion about this in terms of the Airbnb space, in terms of receptiveness to it. But I was having a discussion recently, and I believe there is more openness to it, but of course it was considered, some form of competition. But I must say that if we're talking about opening, and this is just my opinion now, if we're talking about opening, and for those of us who are engaged in that business space when we talk about investments, then I think it's something that we still have to look at a little bit more closer and to see what kind of traffic the country would attract, for it to say, well, okay, this is viable, feasible, etc.
Okay, Mr. Cobb. Sure. This is your expertise.
All right, coming out. This may sound kind of odd coming from someone who's in the hotel business, but I actually am a huge believer in Airbnb and the competition. I think it's a wonderful thing. The only thing we in the hotel space just ask for is a level playing field, and that the hotel tax is collected so that the government of Belize gets their hotel tax. But other than that, I think Airbnb is a wonderful thing. You saw my slide. It promotes the country. You've got, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people all across the world talking about Belize, putting it out there on their social media. Like, this is a wonderful thing for the country of Belize. I think the challenge for the government of Belize is to figure out how do we collect that hotel tax so that the government gets that, and then from a hotelier's perspective, how does it keep the playing field level so that we can compete fairly in that market. But as long as the competition is fair, bring it on. I think it's a wonderful thing for Belize.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Mr. Mohammed.
Very good, thank you. This is for Dr. Almendares also. Huh? Well, I could put this down and answer the question.
Right, he's sitting right next to you. No kidding.
So, back in 1999, a group of us started the first micro business idea in Belize. When I said we, I'm speaking about Darrell Carter, Arturo Lizarraga, Linsford Castillo, and Earl Theos. We were the first group to start a micro enterprise. And we worked very hard because we were trying to say that the Chamber of Commerce and these other larger business organizations was leaving out a large sector of the economic activity in Belize and the Caribbean. It was a time, and should I turn to you? Yes. It was a time when this concept of a micro business idea was just starting to develop in the Caribbean. So there were no access to funds. And we've watched it evolved over the last 24 years to see it become very robust now. And as Dr. Almendarez says, there's money available. But my question is, what defines a micro business now? Because when you hear access to $1 million, you're clearly not talking about some of the very unstructured but very dynamic young business people in Belize, and I'm sure here likewise. So the question is, what defines the micro? What size business are we talking about? Many times micro businesses are 2-3 people. But sometimes when you listen to the concept of micro, they're talking about employing 50 people, 60 people. So let's be clear what we're talking about. Is this still going to leave out a very large sector of business operation within Belize and in the Caribbean?
Thank you very much for your question, Nuri. What we did was a redefinition of MSME, and it went from, in the past, the sole proprietorship, that was considered micro, but remember when we talk about micro or the MSME, there's a definition for each one of those letters. Small has a definition, micro has a definition, and the needs are different. One of the challenges that MSMEs face was access to affordable finance. I must throw the word affordable in there because the cost of money is too high. And so there was a realignment with the definition, in terms of the definition for all of those micro, small, and medium, aligning it with the World Bank. But I must tell you, and I made a reference when I said we still refer to them now as micro, meaning there's a less than sign. So even if you have 1 employee or 2 employees, and your asset is, your sales turnover is less than 200,000, for example, you are in fact included in everything economic development. As a matter of fact, the Fiscal Incentive Act, the revised one, speaks specifically in Part 4 to MSMEs. And a micro, I also mentioned that in terms of government procurement, that 20% must be from the sector. That includes a micro. Remember, I can have a 1-person business, but my sales turnover is $1 million. It all depends on what kind of work I'm engaged in, and that then determines your aggressiveness, etc., and how that is realized. But I must let you know that in terms of inclusion, the government includes whether you're 1 person, whether your sales turnover is $10, and I'm just exaggerating here, but no one is excluded from the economic flow. Thanks.
Sorry. Go ahead. The other person first? No?
Yeah, he had his hand raised first.
Sorry. Good afternoon. My name is Egbert Eugenio, and I'm Belizean. I've been going to Belize back and forth from California. And I want to thank you for this wonderful presentation. I heard, I think, one of the bankers, financiers talk about the second largest barrier reef in the world. As a Belizean, I'm very concerned about the environment, and I would like to hear from the bank how they are engaged in terms of the management of what I refer to as the largest living barrier reef in the world? Or how do you help us mitigate the damage to the barrier reef on the coast? And just briefly, right, to give me an idea of what you have in your financing to help us with that mechanism. And if you could briefly, because I know we are hungry right now, briefly, just give me an idea, how is the Blue Bond connected, if you are aware of the Blue Bond's connectivity towards the coastal zone management in any shape or form? If you don't know, I will do some more research on my own. So that's my question.
Who will have the pleasure of responding?
Let me give a first response to it, because I know he asked the banker, but I think the banker or any investor comes through the process first. And there are processes in place. As a matter of fact, the legislation states that any form of investment that you want to engage in, there must be an environmental compliance plan, whether it's just clearance or a full EIA, because the assessment, that's where we do benefit cost analysis. If the benefit of this investment does not exceed the cost of engaging in that investment, it's a no. So we go through all of these processes. I mean, at times you have heard about some damages where something landed on the reef. That has nothing to do with the banker, and that has nothing to, it just maybe might have happened. But I must let you know, and as a Belizean, I know we're from Grega, I must let you, indeed, when it comes to that, that's something that's carefully assessed. If the Department of Environment does not grant that this project continues after their assessment based on their legislation, that forms a part of it not proceeding until there is full compliance. You mentioned the Blue Bond, and I will just take a shot of this as well. I sit on the board of Coastal Zone Management Authority, and one of the things we do is to ensure that those things will be there for a very long time for the grandkids and the great-grandkids. And so we look at these carefully. The situation is about creating that balance between investment, doing business, and protection of the environment. And they do coincide. And you hear from the environmentalists, all of those damages, etc., are things that may occur. And so you sit around that table. But I can tell you that Blue Bond, the Blue Bond, the fact that it complies with certain measures to take care of the environment, that is what determines whether that bond will continue to be successful in its application. And Belize, as if you recently heard, we are meeting those targets.
Hi, afternoon, everybody. I'm everybody hungry, right? So I know I'm being long. But my name is Kalila Reynolds. Some of you might know me as Kalila Enriquez. I'm the CEO and founder of Money Media, and we focus on financial news and education. So listening to all the presentations here, Mr. Almendares, I know I feel like everybody did gang up Pio, but I do have a question again for him. And my question concerns business development in Belize, because we've been having a lot of focus today on developing Belize's capital markets and getting investment into Belize, but what is being done to ensure that businesses in Belize are actually investable? Which businesses have proper accounts in Belize? How many of them? How many Belizean businesses have financial statements? How many Belizean businesses have boards of directors? Proper governance structures. So if we want to attract investment to Belize, whether foreign or local, we have to make sure that our businesses meet those standards so that investors know and can be confident that they're going to get a return on their money. But our businesses need some hand holding. So what's being done?
No ganging up. This gives me an opportunity to say some of the things I couldn't say in the time that we had. But let me say this. For you, Kalila, not when I say you, I mean a person wanting to invest. There are times when, of course, you might say you get certain financials, but which financials? And I think you know what I mean. They say the financial for you, and the audited financial. We require, under the law, audited financials. Audited financials. And one of the auditors that I know very well sits right in the front seat. I won't even call his name over there. But I can tell you, when we work with him, I know how thorough he is. That's the kind of audited financials that we want, that we require. And if it doesn't proceed, I will also say this. Under Act 54, that is the previous act, if you didn't want to comply, you pay a fee. Under Act 4 of 2023, if you don't give us the audited financials, that investment doesn't move. And we do site visits to make sure that what you say you are going to do, you are doing. You have a developmental plan. There is monitoring that takes place to ensure that you have satisfied one of the first things. In the first 2 years in that 5 year that you got approved, what have you really done? Because if you come to us after the first 5 years and you did nothing, that extension will not be granted after the assessment, and you can justify why is it that you did not do so. So I must tell you, in terms of policy, legislation, strategies, the environment, and those of us who work to make sure that you comply, it's all there. The question is, are you going to comply? Because if you don't, the business will not proceed. That's basically what it is.
I think you misunderstood the question. My question is, most Belizean businesses now have no audited financials, one that costs money. How do we get them to the point that they can prepare those things, that they can have the levels of compliance that are required to access the capital? How do we develop our Belizean businesses to have those standards?
Actually, I understood your question, and I answered the question. I'm telling you what is required. What is required? No, listen to what I'm saying. The law exists. You must comply with the law. If you, a micro, let me qualify this as well. A micro is not required to present an audited financial. But now with the expanded definition, that is something that we have to look at. Another thing that we do as Beltrade, let me say what Beltrade does. Beltrade does all that necessary training. Our investment unit goes through all of that with you because there are guidelines. If you don't follow those guidelines, again, I'm talking about investment, it does not proceed. In terms of a person who wants to conduct an audit or must conduct an audit for them to do business, you're asking what are we doing? These large businesses, if they must comply with those auditing standards, then it's their responsibility to find an auditor to audit their financials so that it can be presented and verified, etc. But I'm talking about what is required as a person who really wants to engage in business. So I did understand your question. But, all right.
Thank you for that exchange. We want to definitely open up the floor in case anyone else wanted to contribute as we get to the closing of the investment forum. Is there anyone else who would like to contribute to the discussion? Going once, going twice. Oh, as soon as I start counting down, people come out of nowhere.
I think piggybacking off what Kalila said, was more so asking a question, were there any program in place or any entity in place, if I'm right, that assists smaller business in preparing for these issues? Because we know there's a government requirement already in place, but is there any entity that's directly connected maybe to Beltrade or any other government structure that assists small businesses in preparing for these requirements?
Beltrade is one of them. Beltrade is one that does it. But we do assist because we work with you from concept. But remember, you segregate them. You have a micros who will need far more hand-holding in terms of preparation. But a small entity, which now operates with close to 50 employees and all of that, they are not really considered a micro. So you access that kind of service from someone else. That's why with that bigger definition, it means now you have greater access to certain resources. But the micros, they don't require, or we don't require audited financials from them, and that's legislated.
Can I just, and I'm not going to go on, just to say that some years ago, the concept of an incubator was there, which is what Kalila sounds like she's saying is missing. We need incubators to take people who sometimes have been in business 5, 10 years, but they're just doing the business and not expanding the business because they haven't gone to the next step. Now I hear Leroy saying they offer some degree of preparation, but I think Kalila is saying at a lower level, you really need to envelop these people in an incubator concept in order for them to grow.
Let me just quickly say this, if I may. Yes. We have 2 incubators. One is a fixed and one is a mobile. The fixed incubator is at our Small Business Development Center. And so you come in and we do all the training with you. And at some point you graduate when we believe, in fact when you graduate we do your business cards, set up your website, help you set up a website and all of that. That's a fixed one. Then we have a mobile incubator where it's costly for someone to come from the south to Belize City. We have a mobile incubator where we converted a van and turned it into an office, and we go to you to reduce your costs, but to make sure you understand that when you're pricing, that you price because you understand all your costs and those kind of things, because it's not just about audited financials, but you understand pricing. Put in all my costs so that there is some normal profit for me to continue to operate. And that's important. So we have a mobile and a fixed incubator that assists MSMEs.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions before we close? I'll do it again, going once, going twice.
Hurry, hurry.
All right, I'm gonna call this to the podium. On the what, sorry? They'll be back. Clarity for what? Okay. Well,
But
they're not in the room to answer that question, so we can table that until you can see them. I'll call Michael Young to close out the investment forum and to say his thank yous.
Yes, thank you very much. But I also wanted to just add that there's also the local Chamber of Commerce, which is our binational Chamber of Commerce anchor partner in Belize, the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, BCCI. They do a lot of training for free for small businesses and so forth. They have a lot of programs, and actually one of their representatives is here. They're in the business booth over at the other room, so I just wanted to mention that. But we want to say thank you to everyone here. We want to say thank you to all of the agencies that supported, participated, sponsored, Finance Belize, Financial Services and Commission, ECI Development, Key International Bank, Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora, Natural Resources, Immigration, Beltrade. We have quite a few, the Belize Diaspora Network, XTV, CREM, Radio Belize, Belize, right? So, and whoever I forgot to mention, BTB, and everybody else. So, with that being said, We'd like to thank you guys for attending the 9th Annual Belize Investment Forum here in California at the Marriott LAette. Please do enjoy, and we look forward to you returning and working with us. Please don't hesitate to get in contact with us and see how you can get involved. Thank you all for attending and for being here. All right, thank you.
Coming to a close of the investment forum. It is day 2 of the Belize Diaspora Summit. I think we need to get some answers to that question that Kalila asked, because I feel dissatisfied with the response. I don't know how you feel about that. I also was hoping that she would have done a presentation.
I thought that
I had a different understanding. I guess I get
thought that she was presenting.
Yeah, I get a different schedule, or I
don't know. I'll have to ask, because we spoke with her yesterday, and that was the
original plan, or that's how I felt. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. But I will have to ask.
We will have to ask.
Maybe we can get a word with Kalila before she leaves.
Yes.
We're still on. But interesting, informative, a lot of stuff that whoa, okay, that's interesting.
Big surprise.
For
me, that Forex was a bomb. I not touch Forex like with a long line stick, because my thing is you need internet, you also need some kind of banking, how do I call it, revision. You need regulations. You need to know that the things with Forex, they don't have to adhere to any regulations anywhere. So that just like money, whether so they float about. It makes me kind of antsy, because this is what Nayib Bukele did in El Salvador, changing the national currency to Bitcoin with no consideration to internet access and banking regulations and everything else. So makes me kind of itchy, kind of nervous.
Yeah. I would hope that we could get. I think Kalila is probably having some conversations right now. But
we'll try.
You want me to see if I can go and
please?
Get her?
Yeah. So while they're going to go do that, I'm just gonna thank our sponsors, the people who made it possible for us to cover the Belize Diaspora Summit and also to do the broadcast. So definitely Atlantic Bank Belize, Atlantic Insurance Corporation, Battle of the Drums, the Belize Chamber of Commerce Industry, Western Union, Belize Bank Limited, Beltrade, Benny's Home Center, Builders Hardware, Cajal Petch Village Resort, Carlos Diaz Private Bathroom, Central Bank of Belize, CG United, Citrus Products of Belize Limited, Dangriga Town Council, Darius Meat Pie, DigiWallet, Enrique Martinez and Sons, Feinstein Group of Companies, Freetown Drugstore, Government of Belize, Holy Redeemer Credit Union, Murray Sharp Fine Food, Ministry of Education, Quick Home Real Estate, Rosado Hardware, Simon Kwan and Company Limited, and Social Security Board. But fortunately for us, we have in our presence here Kalila Reynolds. Welcome. I really had a different idea how to the Megan. I don't know, and we even reported it that we were off the assumption that you were presenting today, or did I understand wrongly? Or
I think there was a last minute change. I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay. The reason why I begged Mose for ask you is because I just felt like we didn't get a response to your question. So I don't know if you wanted to give us a little bit. I know that lunch.
Well, I can't give the response.
Well, all of that too.
But yeah, so one of the points that I would have raised in my presentation would have been about business development in Belize, right? Because that's one of the things that you need if you want to attract any kind of investment. You have to be able to show that you're an investable company. That if I'm an investor, if I want to give you my money, that you are giving me it back. Plus profits, right?
Right.
And
Plus
a lot of Belizean businesses don't have that. Just basic stuff. Starting even with the registration, being tax compliant, having a board of directors that meets regularly, having their financial statements. A lot of them don't even understand the difference between profit and revenue. And so that business development needs to be there. And the thing is, so you guys know I'm based in Jamaica now, right?
Yes.
And so I cover the business sector there a lot in our reporting. And they have a very vibrant business development sector, not only from public assistance, but also the private sector. Most of the banks in Jamaica have incubator programs for small businesses.
Most of the banks.
Many of
As
the
in
banks.
not just like one Jamaican version of Build Trade. You're saying like within the bank.
Within the bank
they are
itself.
helping you to know how to do these things.
And as a matter of fact, I benefited from that when I was starting my business, because you guys know I'm not a journalist, I don't know a business. I never studied business a day in my life.
I was impressed by the switch myself when I see it as like when Mose said thing that you did about money media, I said, oh, okay,
right,
I'm with it.
So knowing how to do a thing is a lot different than running a business that does that thing.
Absolutely.
Because now I have to learn marketing, I have to learn sales, I have to learn email strategies, I have to learn HR, human resources, how to manage people. I have to learn accounting, I have to learn all these different things. And so for small businesses in Belize, and even some of the medium ones, and especially the micros, they find themselves in that situation all the time that, let's say you make soap, right?
Yes,
you make beauty products and you're really good, you make amazing quality soap and hair products and stuff, but you don't know how to manage a business.
And you are running.
You don't know how to run the business.
Right.
Exactly. And so that's the level of business development that we need, because we have great ideas, we have great people, we have great potential entrepreneurs, we have great businesses that could come out of Belize, but we need the structures and we need the hand holding to develop these into global companies that are investable.
Right, absolutely agree with you. So Kalila, for people who want to access your information, because you're very generous with what you share, but you're also a consultant, if I'm understanding
all kind of thing, girl.
Right. So basically, where can people get in touch so that they could get, get access to your knowledge?
All over social media. I'm on Insta, I'm least active on Facebook, and I know Facebook run Belize.
Yes.
But Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. You could send me a message on Facebook. I may or may not see it. Probably the best way would be Instagram or LinkedIn.
Right. Kalila, I really want to thank you for your time. Congratulate you on everything that you're doing. You know, you're a phenomenal star for the Belizean diaspora. I know we always think states, but not just states,
Still
right?
diaspora, yeah.
Exactly. You know, Caribbean diaspora, you're doing your thing. And I want to thank you for posing the question, because I think sometimes we like playing a forum safe, but it's something, like you said, especially if it's an investment forum, people need to know that your money is safe.
Exactly.
Your business is safe.
Exactly.
And that the financial development of the country in itself was safe too, right? Because when these businesses fail, it's not just the business that fails, but it's the entire environment when not conducive, where they fail even itself, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.
And I'm happy to be here.
Yes, man. Give thanks, and you have a good one. Thank you so much. All right, Belizeans, you heard there from Kalila Reynolds. She is Money Media, right?
Yes.
All right, so that's Money Media all the way from Jamaica here in Los Angeles, California. This is the investment forum. It was the second day of the Belize Diaspora Summit, and we just want to remind, right, that for we diaspora, they're all about, they're not just the states, and so we love hearing from our diaspora wherever on the globe they may be. Really valuable information from Kalila Reynolds. As she said, you can find her anywhere on social media. Instagram will be your best bet. And for sure, Money Media, look it up, and you could get very valuable information there, right, Mose?
Absolutely, 100, yeah. And I just want to thank everybody that supported this process. We know that we had some bumpy parts. We got disconnected from the audio. But we hope to try to retrieve and reproduce. I think it was when Dr. Trumbach was making his presentation, we kind of lost audio.
And also Mr. Haylock, I think, at the very beginning.
At the very beginning.
Yeah, we didn't have that audio as well.
Yeah, so we will try to, I believe that those will be retrievable, because that disconnection happened, I believe, between the broadcast and the head end back in Belize. So we will be producing it. It will be on YouTube, and you can go and check it out. So we will try to work that out, you know.
Right.
But all in all, I believe that we were able to stretch to the limit of our capacity. We did our best to get this into your homes, into your cars, wherever you are, and the amazing team we have back there doing the work on that end. Give thanks to you guys.
Radio Belize Mix, Will Johnson, thanks very much, and Mr. Enfield.
Yeah, like,
appreciate,
like,
of course,
like if you go and you watch, it's actually there.
Right.
The investment summit in New York last year, and you look at what we had to do with what we had available. I remember having to go and get so I had to go and buy a tripod, and then
tripod.
Yes, and then the tripod fell for me on the subway.
Oh no.
And then it broke apart. That essentially made it dysfunctional. And so with the investment firm starting like around 10 o'clock,
right,
I had to get downtown Manhattan.
I don't know New York any at all. You speak French, but for those who know,
just meaning that
the man had to move far.
You creep. No, it's like you have to creep. You can't move fast in those spaces unless you're on a bike. And then trying to get this thing remedied, managed to essentially get there in time to set up. We did the broadcast, but if you look at it and compare to what our collaboration with Radio Belize Mix, we are able to achieve multi-camera shots and get audio and have lighting, and we just up the game.
Totally.
And so we're very thankful for that. And I believe that again, the summit continues. This is going to be a busy place.
Oh yeah.
For the rest of this afternoon, the business room is going on. Then there's going to be, I believe, at 4 o'clock, there's going to be a meet and greet with the Prime Minister. But we are packing up. This is our parting ways. I still have a small contribution to make tomorrow night at the gala. Along with Caribbean Dynamics, for those who are...
You don't want to tell them where, so they don't miss it?
They are.
Literally?
They are.
All right, so just come here to
the ballroom.
Right.
So we're doing Caribbean Dynamics. We'll be rocking, and I will do a little smallers. You know how you go.
But that rocker though.
That rocker.
Mose.
That rocker, yeah.
Rocker in the diaspora. So rocker fans.
Well,
you did at LA.
You know.
Oh, I did at the LA Marriott Saturday evening.
Yeah. Come on, rep. Come on.
Not call the man Tuesday and say, boy, I'm a walk on.
In the words of my brethren, Greg Myers, answer the call.
You're right. Answer the call. Please answer the call.
Answer the call.
The phone the ring. Let's go.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we're talking about. And I think we should get Nyasha. You don't think we should get Nyasha?
Right. I mean, if whoever could get, you could get.
We know what we got. Yeah, we can't make the team go longer than they need to go. They don't take pressure last year. We have some folks that I want to talk to, but we understand. We got a team putting in some
We have
big
the
hours.
hell hostage same way.
Big hours. So I guess we do put a wrap on it. We absolutely thank the Belize American Chamber of Commerce. Without their support for our travel, we would not be able to come here.
Possible, right.
Coordinating with Southwest Airlines to get promo tickets and to facilitate discounted prices here in the hotels. Big thank you to the heavy lifting of Mrs. Aria Lightfoot, Mrs. Rishma Eckert, just doing mad lifting along with Michael Devon Young. Without that kind of heavy commitment, voluntary at that, this would not happen.
Absolutely.
And so we also have our sponsors that we want to thank, so you want to just give them that recognition.
All right, so thanking our sponsors, Atlantic Bank Belize, Atlantic Insurance Corporation, Battle of the Drums, Belize Chamber of Commerce Industry, Western Union, Belize Bank Limited, Beltrade, Benny's Home Center, Builders Hardware, Cahal Petch Village Resort, Carlos Diaz Private Bathroom, Central Bank of Belize, CJ United, Citrus Products of Belize Limited, Dangriga Town Council, Darius Meat Pie, DigiWallet, Enrique Martinez and Sons, Feinstein Group of Companies, Freetown Drugstore, Government of Belize, Holy Redeemer Credit Union, Marie Sharp Fine Foods, Ministry of Immigration, Quick Home Real Estate, Rosados Hardware, Simon Kwan and Company Limited, and the Social Security Board. We want to thank you all so much for making it possible for us to share the Diaspora Summit with anybody and everybody who probably wanted to come, but for whatever reason were unable to. But also to, even if you were here, if you missed a panel, you could still go back, check our social media platforms,
YouTube,
and watch
XTV
it.
Belize.
Like you say, watch it in a small pieces, take your time, yearly snacks, and so much good information. Much good information.
Yeah.
Really proud of the entire team for this behemoth effort and the hard work that they've put in, and we really want to thank them and show them our appreciation by definitely keeping the discussion open and active. We got Richmond to tell we a good job, and that make I feel good, because they do a good job, so give thanks to that. They do the job, right?
They do the job.
Right.
You do only thing.
Yes, I.
Hey, so thank you, Kiri. We've been doing
thank you to
WB broadcast, going through like that's heavy, strenuous stuff, to come carry, and then we operate under the pressure of trying to make sure that back home it get how if we go.
Right.
We are being seen, we are being heard.
So you deserve that dance, make a free up, leave it, man. You know, figure say so?
No,
figure say so, man. Figure say so.
Gala.
Goaler, my bad, goaler, I don't dance. I cheapen the thing, they don't dance.
I don't think
it's a goaler.
I don't think I've ever
twist him out to the side and one goaler. Are you doing lunch? It's a must, it's a must.
Whoa. We in the lunch part.
We have one of the organizers here, y'all.
I think we lost batch.
All right, well, thanks.
We're done.
We're done. The battery say, all right, good.
Good morning.
But what it go on, man? What you do out here?
I know you know that I left the place and lived.
No, me don't know nothing about that.